America's racing tradition was born on the sands of Daytona Beach. Today is the dawning of the 37th Daytona 500. Like any epic struggle, it's had its triumphs and disappointment. Today, another chapter will be written. Looking to become only the third man to defend a 500 victory, Sterling Marlin. Jeff Gordon, his future is now. Rusty Wallace has led the series in victories the last 2 years, but Daytona is an unfriendly memory. Standing in the way of everyone, the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. He's won a staggering 26 races here, but the 500 has eluded him with heartbreaking regularity.
Here he comes, Earnhardt. It's the Dale and Dale show as we come off of turn 4. Bring her to the inside, Dale. Don't let him get down there. He's going to make it. Dale Jarrett's going to win the Daytona 500.
Today, Jarrett is again a force to be reckoned with. One man stands 200 laps from glory. $112,000 seats have been sold out for a year. It appears that an equal number of fans have filled the infield to capacity. And why? There are races and then there are races. But this is the lion of races. This is the Daytona 500. 37th annual, $3 million purse, 42 drivers strong, ready to go for the glory here today at Daytona. Hello, everyone. Ken Squire with you. Looking forward to our CBS coverage. And right now, let's go to the very front row with Mike Joy.
Thank you, Ken, and hello, everyone. Dale Jarrett's Ford is on the pole, and by a mere 11 thousandths of a second, Dale Earnhardt's Monte Carlo alongside. Well, I wouldn't want to stand between you guys in about 15 minutes, but I feel kind of safe right now. Dale Jarrett, you've done this before. Can you do it again?
Well, I hope we can. It's going to be a lot tougher here. These guys are awfully good, but I believe we've got a good car. It's a long race. We've got to be patient, get our car right for the end.
Dale Earnhardt, 17 tries. 17 was the lucky number for Darrell Waltrip. How about for you today?
Well, maybe it will be, but really it's like Dale said, you got to get through the day here, and if you get through the day and you're in shape there at the end, maybe you got a shot at it. Just hope to have the shot at it. That's what we want.
Well, now, which of you is Dale number 1 and which is Dale number 2?
We're both Dale number 1. Somebody. The mama. The mama, I guarantee you we are.
At least. Best of luck to you both.
Thanks.
Ken Squire.
Thank you very much, Mike Joy. Looking forward to a great race here. And for an overview, let's turn to the man who has been with us for so many years, the two-time Winston Cup champion who brought his son home back here in 1993, Ned Jarrett.
Ken, this is the one. The Daytona 500 is the one they all want to win. They've massaged those cars. They've tested them all winter long and put their best foot forward to come here to run for the big prize today. But most of them know that even with all the preparation they have, that things have to fall their way before they have much of a chance at winning this race. One thing that we'll look for early in this race today is the fact that it's much cooler today than it's been for the last several days, and setting those cars up on a hot track might be a different setup than what they'll need here today. I'm sure that some guessed down in the garage area this morning as to exactly what they'll need, so we'll sort that out for you as the Daytona 500 goes on.
And something special for this Daytona 500. No name is more synonymous with this race than Petty. 7-time winner, 9 in all, including his dad's win in '59 and Pete Hamilton back there in 1970. 27 times he's seen this race through the windshield. He's going to see it with us today. Your overview on the 500.
Well, I'm going to look at it a little bit different today than what I've been at. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a typical Daytona 500. You know, everybody's come down. They've done their practicing. They've done their homework. I don't think there's been a whole lot of surprises. Maybe the Chevrolet, nobody knew what, and still don't know what they're going to do. But I think it's going to be a typical deal. And like Dale and Dale said, it's going to come down to, you know, who's there at the right time at the end of the race. And, you know, who's got the right circumstances going to win the race.
And a guy who knows about those circumstances is in this race, the '89 winner, standing by with David Hobbs.
Well, Darrell Waltrip has been extremely cool. The last 2 afternoons when we had happy hour, the 2 most important practice sessions of the whole week, Darrell Waltrip's been gone, resting, AWOL. Darrell, you must be incredibly confident in this car.
David, I'm very happy, but I just want to tell all the people watching, if you're 45 and older, you're a tennis player, a golfer, you play football, baseball, whatever, pull for me today, will you? Because I got to run against these 30-year-old kids out here today, so you know what I'm up against. I've been at home resting is what I've been doing.
This is your 23rd start. You've won 1. Richard Petty, King Richard upstairs, 32 starts, won 7. That means you've got to win 6 out of the next 9. Is this going to be the first one?
Well, I got a great car. The Western Auto Chevy is just, it's been flawless for 10 days. I got my fingers crossed. I've been praying with everybody in the garage area that it stays that way all day today. I'm happy. I'm ready to go. I just want to get going. I want to try to win this thing.
What a relaxed man. Now to the third member of our pit crew, editor of Stock Car Racing magazine, Dick Berggren.
10 years ago to the week, young Jeff Gordon began his racing career here in Florida on the dirt tracks at age 13. Now at age 23, he is in the Daytona 500 as one of the favorites. In 2 previous Winston Cup Speed Weeks appearances, he has won the Busch Clash and a 125-miler. The only other race is this one, the Daytona 500. Jeff, what's your plan?
Well, I don't have much of a choice but to help push that number 3 up to the front and hopefully get out in the lead draft and just stay there all day. It's a long race. You know, you got to be patient. You got to be calm. That's one thing I've been working on awful hard. But you want to be in that lead draft, come to the end, and you probably don't want that number 3 in front of you either.
Ken Squire?
You now join us as we go trackside for the invocation.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for today's invocation by the Reverend Hal Marchman.
Almighty God and Father of all mankind, we give thanks today for this wonderful place where we find ourselves. Help us today to stop, look, and listen. Stop, be still, and know that you are our God. And look at each other and look at ourselves and find out that we are all your children. And help us to listen to that still small voice that calls us to dwell together in peace and in harmony. Shalom and amen.
When we come back, the command to crank 'em up and a look at the starting order for the 1995 Great American Race.
CBS Sports coverage of the Daytona 500 is sponsored by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for a longer engine life. The new Ford Explorer, far and away the best Ford Explorer ever. And by Sears Die Hard, the official battery of NASCAR.
Ready for the command that will put this race underway.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the most famous words in motorsports, our Grand Marshal, the Chairman and CEO of DuPont, Mr. Ed Woolard.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
And now here is the starting lineup for the 37th annual Daytona 500. On the front row, the 1993 Daytona champion Dale Jarrett, alongside his 17th 500, Dale Earnhardt. In row 2, the defending champion Sterling Marlin and Jeff Gordon. For row 3, it's the 89 winner Darrell Waltrip and Mark Martin. In row 4, Rusty Wallace and Todd Bodine. Row 5, Missouri's Ken Schrader, Georgia's Bill Elliott. Row 6, Texas' Terry Labonte and Ted Musgrave. In row 7, it's Kyle Petty and the rookie Ricky Craven. In row 8, Michael Waltrip and Lake Speed. Row 9 is Dick Trickle and Ricky Rudd. In row 10, making his 28th consecutive 500 start, Dave Marcus and Bobby Labonte. Row 11 is Ward Burton and Derek Cope. Row 12, Joe Nemechek and Randy LaJoie. Row 13, Bobby Hamilton and Ben Hess. Row 14, Joe Ruttman from California. Jeff Burstyn of South Boston, Virginia. Row 15 is Jeremy Mayfield and Morgan Shepherd. Row 16, Robert Presley and Phil Parsons. For row 17, Davy Jones is here alongside Jeff Purvis. In row 18, it's Steve Grissom and Mike Wallace. Row 19, last year's pole sitter, Loy Allen Jr. and John Andretti. Row 20, the Bodines, Brett and Jeff together. And in row 21, Rick Mast and the 14-time Outlaw Sprint Car champion, Steve Kinzer. Weather today, a little on the cool side, a little on the breezy side at the present time, Ned.
Yes, there is a little bit of a wind blowing. That's not uncommon here at Daytona. I think when they set their cars up, they prepare for that because they know that the wind is subject to blow here.
Richard, we've got something new in this telecast. As you look at that car up in front, take a look at this. There it is, the CBS flying cam. We hope to give you a new look, a new way to see the 500 with this. And we'll tell you a little bit more about it later.
Well, we hope we can get the weather up a little bit so that we can get this thing up in there where everybody can see what's going on. But it'll be some great shots if we can.
Take a look at that. You don't know if you need an engineer or an entomologist with that thing. But
you run along down the backstretch and that thing pulls in the side of it, you wave at it. You know?
Now, we do have a problem at the present time. The overcast so low here at the track, they are now allowing the blimp in the air nor the helicopter that carries the equipment for our onboard cameras. And we hope to be getting them up shortly. But at the present time, the FAA is precluding the use of the blimp or the chopper. So we'll start without onboard cameras for today's race, Ned.
And we have 5 of them once we get set up or get the picture down.
And we should say the ceiling is rising at the present time, but when we came in here this morning, you couldn't see from the tower across Lake Lloyd in the infield, totally fogged in. In fact, they had closed the airport for entry for some time. There were a few takeoffs, but nobody coming in, and that must have fouled up a few corporate jets.
The weather's looking a whole lot better right now as far as that part's concerned, and I think as far as the racers are concerned, it's looking a whole lot better than what it did this morning.
Pace cars rolling out. And the field is moving away. $3 million at stake. But what really counts here is to pull into victory lane and put your name on this one. Darrell Waltrip told us he won 3 championships, but it wasn't until he won at Daytona that he knew the significance of this race, Richard.
Well, you know, I got lucky. I won Daytona before I won a championship. And, yeah, you got to figure that this lasts all year long. This is our biggest race. And you come and win Daytona, then it really lasts for a long time.
First one was back in 1964 that Richard won. And, of course, when CBS came here in 1979, he gave us that surprise finish.
Well, I didn't give you the finish. I just gave you the win. I got lucky on that.
All right, we'll be back, folks, to bring you the start of the Daytona 500 live on CBS in a moment. One lap from the start of the 500 through the 18-degree tri-oval. 42 racers from our CBS flying cam, hovering along, flying with them down toward turn 1. That camera, for the most part, will be working right here along pit road today, not all the way around the track. Race analysis for today. Buddy Baker set that record. Second year that CBS was here. Great run of 177 miles an hour in a Waddell Wilson prepared car for Harry Ranier. Take a look at the back of the pack. 3 drivers have gone to backup cars today. There you see Loy Allen, last year's pole sitter. He's out in the rear of the field in car number 27. Also back there, we expect to see the 19 car, Phil Parsons. He had one car that was all blue. One, I guess this is the one is a home car and one's the away car.
Yes. Anyway, it's a backup car. Both of those drivers wrecked in the 125-mile qualifying races and had to put in the backup car. As a result, they go to the back of the field.
As also did John Andretti, who, if you watch the 125-mile qualifiers that were replayed yesterday, made a dramatic save here in turn 4. So now you see John Andretti out of Indianapolis, Indiana, in the back of the field. Get ready to cut it through.
Ken, we're not going this time around. They've called off the start of the race for this particular lap. And we understand there might be some debris
down in turn 1.
Yes.
Now, probably those wind blowing and stuff, it blows up a lot of trash on the track, so they try to clean it all off, but a lot of times they miss some of it.
You're getting ready for the Super Bowl of stock car racing, Richard. Now, do you want to be up where you feel electricity coming off your fingertips, or do you want to be as deflated as an empty basket?
Well, I think you want to be just as relaxed as you can. No matter what's going on, you're going to be excited about it, being on the racetrack or being ready for the race. But you got to figure this is a 3.5 hour show that you've got to go out and run all day long, and you've got to be at your fullest, so you don't want to get burnt out before the race starts.
And as Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett pointed out, patience is the key here, especially in the early part of the race while the cars are so bunched up.
And if you're new here, let's take a look at the track analysis. 2.5 mile tri-oval, Montepenny design, 31 degrees on the east and west end. The tri-oval at the start-finish line is banked 18 degrees. Top speed here, 193, just as you peek off into turn number 1. Jim Kelly, the honorary starter, about to put the flag down when they come by this time around. Rick Mast has made a pit stop and come back out in car number 1.
I think he just went in and topped the fuel off, Ken. They only had run a couple of laps under caution, but that might mean that he can go a couple of laps if this thing goes green for a long time. Might be able to run a couple of laps further than anybody else, and who knows what that might do for you.
The field entering the 3,600-foot back straightaway. Incredible race here yesterday we'll tell you more about. Let's take a look at the race winners and all the stock car action this week here at Daytona. Earnhardt winning the Clash. Andy Hillenburg, Indiana Hillenburg, winning that ARCA 200. Sterling Marlin. Earnhardt won his 7th, 125. Earnhardt came back and won the IROC race. What a story in the IROC race. Larry Woody over in the Tennessean wrote a lead that said Al Unser Jr. was in the one place you don't want to be on the last lap, between the finish line and Earnhardt.
And here's a guy that wants to be out in that race car, Ernie Irvin. Past winner here with his daughter Jordan as they get ready for the start of this race. He's a consultant now with the 2018 car that he drove before he was injured last year in August at Michigan. Boy, he wants to be out there badly.
So bad. Crowd on their feet, ready to applaud as the 42 best come down to start the Daytona 500.
Will make that hard left-hand turn, and the safety car now moves to control.
Dale and Dale. A tale of two Dales coming to the line to start the 500. Laps to get to full speed.
Yeah, it takes a while to get the restrictor plate engines up to speed. They give them 2 laps in qualifying here because you can't get full speed in that first lap, and the second lap you get it wound up, and that's when you can really show what you can do. Marlin going to the inside. He wants to lead the first lap. He got a good draft off Jarrett, and he's going for the lead.
3 wide, headed for turn 3. Sterling Marlin, defending champion, on the bottom, underneath Jeff Gordon.
But when he pulled up beside of Jarrett, that let Earnhardt shoot out in front. Earnhardt will have the lead coming back to the stripe.
Coming down to officially lead this lap. Sterling Marlin comes to the inside, then tucks back in. And Earnhardt has now led in 15 of the 17 Daytona 500s he's competed in.
And he got himself 5 bonus points pretty early here. Everybody wants to do that. Get those 5 bonus points. That is for leading a lap in a NASCAR Winston Cup race.
And it's the first time Earnhardt has ever led the opening lap of the Daytona 500. Here they come, 3 wide.
Jarrett coming back. He got shuffled back there on that first lap. And the Robert Yates car coming back. He and Mark Martin. Mark Martin in the Ford. 3 Chevrolets out front. Mark Martin on the high side of the track. In a Ford. There's Todd Bodine. Runs good here at Daytona, car number 75. He's in a Ford also.
I think everybody's just looking for a place to run right now because the way the cars draft, they're all running wide open. It's just who you get behind and how the car behind you gets, and that's where you wind up on a position. So they'll get strung out here in another couple of laps.
Richard, your driver number 43 hanging back in there. Yeah, just kind trying to not get too racy here at the start?
Well, I think he'd probably get more racy if the car would run faster, you know. Hopefully he can get settled down in there and get him a good running position and go from there.
Well, Darrell Waltrip got himself in a position there a moment ago.
Yeah.
In the middle of a 3-car draft. Here's Sterling Marlin going for the lead.
And Waltrip has fallen from 5th to 20th in that group. Look at Gordon on the inside, and look how loose that car is in 3.
Well, when you get underneath another car, a lot of wind there, and it affects the car very dramatically, and it will loosen it up a little bit.
Does it put a little ache in the small of your back when you go into turn 3, Richard? You feel the air lift off that spoiler?
Well, what's so bad? It's unpredictable. You never know what the circumstances are going to be. One lap is good and one lap is bad, so you don't never know.
Yeah, you can see those walls out there. You can see those other cars, but you can't see that air and what it might do to the car.
You just have to feel it, and then it's all reflexes from there.
Instinct or reflex race, Richard?
Well, both. You know, you got to figure that the air is going to be there, or the cars are going to be there, or whatever, and then you do a reflex. But basically, it's all reflex. You try to figure as far ahead as you can, but sometimes that doesn't work, especially with all the air.
Got 4 cars running out in single file. Bill Elliott trying to take over the 5th position down on the inside. Those cars running side by side. Can't run quite as fast as those cars out there running in single file.
And let me remind you, we have 5 cars with onboard cameras today, plus our blimp. But the aeronautics folks are not letting them fly at the present time because of the low overcast. We hope that situation will be rectified shortly. Can't do anything about the weather. Look at Sterling Marlin out in front. This is his 12th performance in the 500. It is the 8th time he has led in the race.
Sterling's been awful strong, well, really all week, pretty good. And after they made their engine changes and got ready for the 500, he's probably been the strongest running car in all the practice. So everybody expected him to go to the front real early.
The front is Chevrolet, Ford and Ford. Marlin, Gordon, Martin, Tom, Vine.
190.3 the last time around was the speed for Sterling Marlin.
Todd Bodine putting on a great show as he moves up through the field. Coming from 8th, clearing to 4th. Further back, here's your front 4. Earnhardt is back in 5th. Elliott is up to 6th. Ted Musgrave is 7th. Schrader lies 8th. Dale Jarrett, the pole sitter, 9th. Ricky Craven, the rookie, comes into 10th. Going to 11th is Wallace, and 12th is Speed.
We got the first 4 cars has broke away a little bit right now, and then you got another tribe of 3 of them, and then you got everybody else still running side by side.
Beautiful picture through that trial, just how close they're running. The last lap average speed, I believe it was in the 190-degree category.
191.2.
Let's go further back in the field now. So look at this cluster of cars. There's like Kyle coming to the inside.
And here's Richard's car, Bobby Hamilton going by. Joe Ruttman in the car number 80 pulling up on the inside of John Andretti, who drove for Richard Petty some last year.
Yeah, they got not off to too good a start. He's running right in the back right now, but once they get lined up and he can get one-on-one, then I think he can run real good.
Yeah, if he wins, you think you can get out of here and get down to victory lane, Richard?
I won't worry about that. If he wins the race, I'll be there.
Back in 38 right now. 7 laps complete.
Still a lot of drivers trying to get themselves a position on the racetrack. But Sterling Marlin has his position at the moment.
We saw Darrell Waltrip there for a moment, running in 13th with Lake Speed with him. Trickle is in that group. Then 16th is Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte right there in 7th. Michael Waltrip in 18th. Back in the field. There's Schrader in the 25. Ken Schrader carrying those new red colors in 8th position. Front of the field coming by from pit road. Interval over that front group, and the interval from first to last over all 42 cars now stands at 6 seconds. 6 seconds.
that spot in a hurry, don't they?
Do you ever feel like you're going that fast when you hit the back straightaway, Richard?
Yeah, it feels like you're running that quick, but once you do it for 3 or 4 laps or 8 or 10 laps, then the speed sensation goes away, and everything kind of slows down. It makes more of a slow motion deal.
Making some early moves.
Oh, there's trouble here on turn 4. Brett Bodine and Joe Nemechek.
Nemechek is in the wall hard. Bodine still sliding through the grass. Nemechek took the wall head on in car number 87. First caution of the day as they complete lap number 8.
See some right front damage to Brett Bodine's car. He continues to round the track. He should be able to get it back to the pits, and Junior Johnson's crew will work on it. But Nemechek's car, I don't know about it. It has a lot of damage. You can see the roof flaps did deploy when the car went backwards, and that's what they're designed to do, is to keep the back end on the ground. Disappointing for Joe Nemechek. Has his own team this year and was looking forward to a good Daytona 500.
Failed to qualify last year. This was his first start, and it runs just 8 laps before he is in trouble out of turn 4. A replay on this incident. Little squeeze.
Yeah, Nemechek's car went high up against the wall, came back down into the car of Brett Bodine. Bodine was just an innocent victim there. He was down on the inside of the track. Nemechek's car went a little high up next to the outside wall, careened down across the track, and then, of course, into the inside retaining wall.
From another angle, more about the story.
We take a look from a different angle, and you can see Nemechek just shoot out of that pack down to the inside. Brett Bodine says, "What in the world is this coming at me?" It happened so quickly he didn't have time to react.
Yeah, I think the 29 was out there when the 87 got there. I think they made a little bit of contact there and got the 87 sideways.
Jeremy Mayfield?
No, Steve Grissom.
Steve Grissom, yeah. And he happened to be on the outside. And all you got to do is just touch each other when you're running that quick. And again, the deal of the car hitting each other, but also the wind, and then the wind takes hold, and if they really take off then. He looks like he got a lot of trouble there.
Yeah, right front is down on the Junior Johnson car. Bodine bows it on pit road. Back with more of the story shortly. Working lap 12. Brett Bodine coming back on the track. No one else is pulled on pit road. For more of the story on Bodine, here's David Hobbs.
Well, the car was pretty badly damaged on the right front quarter. I don't know whether there was any suspension damage or not. They spent a lot of time putting the bodywork together with the most famous racer's tape. We're just trying to get a word with Mike Beam here and see if he can tell us a bit about it. Mike? Is the car damaged under the skin, or is it just superficial? Is the car damaged badly underneath, or is it just superficial?
Of new tires and 1 set of used tires lined up in this pit. That may not be enough for the 4th place car to get through the whole race, so crew chief Troy Selberg sent one of his emissaries down to older brother Brett's pit, because if Brett's car is badly damaged, Junior Johnson won't need those 8 brand new sets of Goodyears they have lined up behind the pit of the 11 car. Kent?
We have our own shopping network along pit road today. Everybody's out looking to buy tires. There you see the Jeremy Mayfield car coming back out. Brett Bodine has had terrible luck in this 500. He's never finished better than 17th in 8 500 efforts, and today looks like he's going to come up a little short again after this incident early in the going.
Yeah, it was too bad, because he was just riding along on the low side of the racetrack, out of the way of everything, and all of a sudden here comes a car from the outside wall right down into it.
We are preparing for green this time by. We saw Andretti come in. He took 4 tires. Bodine, Mayfield, Mast, Marcus, they came on for fuel. Phil Parsons came in. He took on tires and fuel.
Those cars that are running near the back of the pack, not bad strategy for them to come in and at least top off the fuel, because it will let them go more laps than anyone else. If those that didn't stop, if they should go green for a long time, they can go about 50 laps on a tank of fuel, as far as that part is concerned.
I suppose the big thing here, Richard, is just to take it easy on these starts, not get over anxious.
Well, the big deal is it's a long, long way. I mean, you think you've run a long way already, and we hadn't even got started good. So I think everybody just has to be patient. No matter how good you run, you still got a long way to go.
Green condition once again. Sterling Marlin out in front. You see Jeff Gordon second, Mark Martin third, Todd Bodine fourth, Earnhardt fifth. You're talking about Waltrip. He's regrouped. Fell to 20th on the second lap. Went as far back as 22nd. He's now back up to 13th. Let's see if they do the backstretch shuffle.
Darrell Waltrip is one of those drivers who knows about patience, and he knows how to implement it.
Yeah, that's one thing about Darrell. That's why he's won championships and won a lot of races. He knows what's going on, and he figures all the way through at the beginning of the race so that he's got everything in preparation for the last part of the race.
And here's trouble again, coming out of fourth. Spinning is Davy Jones all the way down pit road.
So far hasn't hit anything, Jim.
That was quite a flight. I think he got clipped.
That was quite a ride. You can rest assured. I did it one time back in 1965, not in the race, did it in practice.
I remember that. That was one scary deal.
Oh, I thought the thing would never quit. But after I saw it wasn't going to hit anything, then I just sat back and enjoyed it.
I bet you did.
Yeah, you did.
Davy Jones, who qualified 9th at Indianapolis last year, leaving the sports car and IndyCar ranks to try his efforts as a rookie in Winston Cup racing, taking a wild ride down out of turn 4. Get ready to look at it again here.
Davey had a good qualifying speed. He, in a pack of cars there, Ken, it looked like he might have clipped the outside wall just a little bit. Yeah, did you see the right side of the car damaged pretty good? So he must have got up against the right side of the car, then got down on the inside. Those roof flaps again did their job, kept the car down on the ground, and he spun on the pit road. Finally came to a stop. We'll take a look at it at another angle.
And you'll see 22 is that other car. That black car is LaJoy. The Bill Davis car has been involved as well, and he is pitting at the present time. Whoa! A little extra thrill for the folks along pit road. Davy Jones coming back out. We're back with you at Daytona, showing 16 laps complete. You're watching Brett Bodine. Front end on that car bent up a little, but out there and trying to get back into this thing. Davy Jones trying desperately to get back in this race. Work is still going on. They intend to roll it back out, and Dick Berggren can tell us more.
Well, Randy LaJoy has also been into the pit area, Ken, and he's got some significant suspension damage. Chris Hussey, the crew chief, says the front end is out of alignment, the rear end is out of alignment, and there's not much they can do about it right now.
This is the fifth attempt for LaJoy here at Daytona since 1984. Here comes the pace car in, and we're ready to go racing one more time. As they come to the stripe after 2 cautions this far, Marlin first, Gordon second, Martin third. Todd Bodine comes across in fourth. Earnhardt is fifth. Elliott, Musgrave, Schrader, Jarrett, Craven, the top 10. Kyle Petty lies 11th. Rusty Wallace 12th. Darrell Waltrip to 13th. Trickle 14th. Speed, Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte, Mike Wallace, Ricky Rudd, and Mike Waltrip round out the top 20.
None of these are changing up front here, Ken, but back behind them, some of those positions you just mentioned are about to change. These cars are all running single file here. Michael Waltrip and a group of those cars back behind them. Mixing up. There they are. You see Michael Waltrip in the yellow car down the inside. That's Ricky Rudd in the orange and white car as they come off the turn 4.
Every time they start getting in single lane, they have single line. They have these caution flags, and then they all get bunched back up again.
Anything you've seen so far that make you shake your head, Richard?
No, not really. Like I say, everybody's just trying to get settled down. We haven't run long enough to find out how good the cars are handling, and what they're doing. Undoubtedly not handling too good because we done lost a couple of them. But, you know, they've not run just in a regular deal all the way down the line to find out if the back ones can catch up or the front ones can get away.
7 cars in that lead pack. Most serious incident of the day, Joe Nemechek, and David Hobbs is standing by with him now.
Joe Nemechek, what happened up there in turn 4?
Well, just a tough day for the Burger King Chevrolet. I think one of the spotters told the 29 car it was clear, and I happened to have a whole fender up alongside, wedged me up in the wall, and somebody got me in the back and sent me spinning.
You're okay?
I'm a little bit sore. I have a sore neck. That's an awful hard hit I took today. But, you know, they've been having meetings all week for the spotters trying not to get the drivers in predicaments like that. And that's a good example of what not to do. And I hope everybody learns from that.
Well, as you say, let's hope everybody does learn from it. Thanks very much. I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Ken?
Gordon looking like he's ready to try to shuffle up in front. He eased back just a little bit in that draft net.
He did, coming off of turn 2. He was back a little bit. He pulled up very quickly on Sterling Marlin. I don't know if he's content to sit there and ride or if he's hanging on or what the situation is. He might just be hanging on.
I think he's pretty well hanging on right now. I really do. And if somebody doesn't work with him, he pulls out a line up there, then the third place man takes that gap up. So they're real reluctant just to pull out and try to pass somebody one-on-one, especially this early in the race.
Tread lightly here.
Yeah, the main deal right now, I think everybody's just trying to make time. You know, let's run 50 miles, let's run 100 miles, let's run 200 or 300 miles and get ourselves settled in.
Well, they've clicked off the first 20 of the 200 laps. 2 cautions thus far. Pretty much throw away any hopes of a record today. Break that 1980 mark of Buddy Baker.
We see Bobby Labonte there. Darrell Waltrip right behind him. Here's Mike Waltrip in the Mike Wallace in the car number 90 trying to come up through the field as well.
And he's doing well. He's up to 17th from 36 in that field.
Yes, he is. Bobby Labonte, I mentioned, he started 20th. He's up to 13th now in the Joe Gibbs entry.
But that number 90 of Mike Wallace, he lost a car in the Grand National race yesterday, big time. Took a terrible hit. Took the whole back end and rammed it right up past the fuel cell. Right to the rear wheel and then some.
Yeah, there were a lot of cars lost on that race coming down with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, he made the race not because he run good in the 125-mile race. I think he had engine problems, but because he had a good speed, so he was able to get up on speed.
Out of turn 4. Give you some idea of the speed. And into the main straightaway. 1,600-foot area to the tri-oval. Here's Dick Bergman. Well, Jeff Gordon's pit is deep into the first turn area, and as a result, crew chief Ray Evernham can only see about 15% of this racetrack. So they've got a television monitor here, and they're watching the CBS broadcast. And Ray, what are you seeing?
Well, we can't see a lot of the car going by, and then by watching them go all the way around the track, maybe we can help them if he starts having a problem.
Well, the technology has come a long way in this sport.
Surprised those TV sets haven't been banned down on pit road.
Well, it could serve as a safety factor.
Look at Michael Waltrip take his Pontiac up alongside Kyle Petty in the 42 in that second Pontiac. 4 Pontiacs in the field today.
And 3 of them pretty close together there. You see Richard's car number 43 and Bobby Hamilton right behind him there. Morgan Shepherd in the Wood Brothers car number 21 going under Kyle. Kyle getting passed by several cars there.
24 Chevys, 24 Fords, 14 Chevys, and 4 Pontiacs out here in today's race. Leaders remain Marlin, Gordon, Martin.
There are 10 cars in the lead draft. The 11th place car of Rusty Wallace is back about a couple hundred yards.
Working lap 25. Marlin staying consistently in 4th. Remember all those second places he had before that start a year ago that saw him fly to victory here? Brent Pittman put in a new engine special for the 500. It seems to be working beautifully.
It certainly is. We saw a pass about to be made. Ted Musgrave was moving around Bill Elliott, That's going to scramble those front runners up a little bit there and let 5 cars get away from those that were in line. Now you see there's those 5 cars. They're okay. But then the passing started right behind them, and see how far they've gotten ahead there as Ted Musgrave pulled up beside of Bill Elliott. Boy, that just when you do that, it doesn't take but one lap for those others to pull away from them. And it's going to let those behind them pull up to them.
And you see Schrader down on the inside being challenged by Jarrett.
Yes, Schrader lost the position. He moved tonight. Jarrett moved to 8.
Give you a complete running order through the first 24 laps of this race as they work lap 26. Back straight away. Marlin staying first. Craven, the leading rookie in the race. A little further back, you see Robert Presley. He's come from 31st up to that 17th spot. And I'll tell you, there's another one that's still rambling through this field, and that is Kinzer. Steve Kinzer has come up into the 27th spot. And remember that originally he was listed for 42nd. 3 cars had to go to the back, so he really started 39th. But he's having a good run for Bernstein today.
He really is for his first run. In a race here, he ran 125 miles the other day, but didn't run too long. He had some problems in it, so he didn't have a great deal of racing experience on this track. There's Kinzer in the green, car number 26. Here's Phil Parsons coming up on the inside of Bobby Hamilton. That's Jeff Burton, car number 8, Rookie of the Year last year.
Davy Jones going back on the track. He's several laps down. Coming back down the main straightaway. I'll take the correction. Jones did not come out.
That was Ben Hess who had made a scheduled pit stop. There he is down on the inside of the track as the leaders come up on him. Ben Hess back in racing after out for a couple of years. He said he washed dishes at the Taco Bell and did a lot of things just to keep going and for an opportunity to get in racing.
Got 1 car slowing down.
And 1 spinning, 2 or 3 spinning down in turn 1, and Kinzer is in it. And Phil Parsons in the car number 19.
There was a car smoking coming through the corner. May have lost an engine just in front of them. 3rd caution of the day.
I think this was just the idea of running into each other. That's the way it looked to me. The 43 car, I hope, got through there okay, because Bobby was running right with him. Looked like he done a good job of able to get it way down and get down under him. I hope he didn't get the right side too hard.
Well, he's coming on around the track. Of course, the caution is out. We'll see a lot of pit stops after this. They've run 26 laps now. Looks okay, Richard. See him on the screen. Well, Richard's looking out over the
Yeah, he's looking good, looking good. Might have some flat spots because I know he had all 4 of the tires locked up. But the caution flag, everybody will come in. This is the first pit stop for everybody. Everybody will come in this time. 4 new tires and get them a tank of gas, and then we'll go do it again.
Phil Parsons' car up against the wall out of turn number 2. This incident taking place in the 29th lap.
Well, you can see the accidents already started to happen. That's Kinzer in the green car up into the white car of Phil Parsons. Apparently a couple of them got together going into the turn. And we were just talking about how well Kinzer was doing. Unfortunately, not doing too well right now.
From another angle.
You can see them. They get together. What started back there, we couldn't quite see that.
Ward Burton and Loy Allen coming along here in the bottom, squeaking through. Glad that Kinzer didn't spin one more time. Rick Mast coming by there.
And Phil Parsons does a good job of keeping his car on the high side of the racetrack, not coming back down across the track where the other traffic was coming on.
Yeah, it works out real good. If you stay in one place, I think the situation I guess first race we ever ran here way back in '59, and they tell you, say, wherever you're at, stay there. Let everybody else miss you. Don't you try to miss them. And it seemed to work out real good all these years and everything.
Pit road is open and all the leaders are taking advantage.
And the fly cam is up. Flying cam ready to capture this pit crew action.
Follow them down here as they come in. There you see Mark Martin's crew, Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, Musgrave, Rudd.
Now something new this year, Ken. They can have 7 men over the wall, but it has to be those 7 men. They can't go back and forth across the wall like they've done in the past, replacing one with another.
And they've always had that opportunity to switch a couple of guys. A couple of tires have rolled free, come out here in the gray. Here's a third coming out. You see it on the screen. A couple more that came out.
Now, NASCAR did tell them in the drivers' meeting this morning that they could have an extra man to come across the wall specifically to pick up that tire off of another man's car, not off of their car, but if one gets in the way of their tire, of their car, and getting out of the pits, that they could come across the wall and get a tire.
So that's the first stop under green. Back with more from the Daytona 500 shortly. .30 laps complete, and as you can see, they continue to do work on the Junior Johnson car number 11. Brett Godine's ride here for 1995. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, we're in Mark Martin's pit where Steve Meal just took a walk up the street. Let's check with Andy Petrie here in the pits of Dale Earnhardt along with Richard Childress. Andy and Richard talking a little race strategy. Sorry, guys, what can you hope to learn from the tires you just took off Dale's car?
Well, it's going to be hard to tell much from the tires. Mostly just listen to what Dale's got to say and adjust on it from there.
And what's he telling you, Richard?
The car right now is a little bit tight off both corners, and the weather today is a lot different with run in, so we're going to make some adjustments for it.
What he means is they'll take that rear spoiler, the blade, which presently is at about 46 degrees, and lean it down, get it a little out of the wind, maybe tape up the nose to give Earnhardt better aerodynamics and more speed on the racetrack. Dick Berggren?
Well, Mike, on this end of pit road, it appeared as if the new pit rule decidedly had an effect. The pit stops were considerably slower than we had seen before. The 4 car, which had been the leader, took him 22.89 to make his pit stop, and you can sort of see the teams trying to juggle around. This is the first time they've worked with that new rule under intense competition. They've all practiced with it, but the rule hasn't been in place very long. David?
Well, I'm with Steve Kinzer, whose car's looking a bit sorry. What happened out there, Steve, on your first ever Winston Cup race?
Well, I just got in the corner, and me and the 19 car got together, and I don't, it probably my fault, I guess. I don't know what to say. He caught me in the left rear, and when I did, I got spun. So, just wanted to sit out there and ride all day, and the car was really working pretty good. I was having a good time. I just wish we could have stayed out there all day.
Well, better luck next time, Steve. You've got a good year coming up, I think. Ken?
There's a lot of races left, and he is one whale of a racer. Average speed is at 137 miles an hour. That's only about 2 miles per hour quicker than Lee Petty averaged when he won here in 1959. Richard, you remember 50?
Well, but you got to figure they run that whole 500 miles and didn't have any caution flags. Of course, they wouldn't run 140 mile an hour, but no matter what the speed, it wasn't any slower because of the caution. So nothing slowed it down. They just run slow to begin with.
You see Ben Hessen, the 66, down on the inside. Leaders up with Jeff Gordon now on the point. Gordon running first, Marlin second, Earnhardt is third, Ken Schrader is fourth. Running in fifth would be Mark Martin, sixth Musgrave, seventh Elliott, then Jeff Purvis, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte 10th, Ricky Craven 11th, Terry Labonte 12th, Wallace Wester, John Andretti, Bodine Todd, Rick Mast.
And as the green flag dropped, Mark Martin going into the pits. An unscheduled pit stop for him. He came out in 4th place, but is in the pits. The green flag is out. Todd Bodine was the big loser on those pit stops, Ken. He was running in the top 5, came out 15th.
Martin in for an unscheduled stop as the field moves away. Here's Mike Joy.
Look at the left front of this car, Ken. The jack came down before they had finished the tire change on Mark Martin's car. It bent the fender in against the tire. They had to move that sheet metal away from the tire.
Now, he will be able to stay in the lead lap, but he'll have no drafting partner. And if they go green for a long period of time, he stands a good chance of going a lap down.
Front of the field away as Mark Martin comes to a speed just exiting turn 2. Front of the field is down here toward the trioval.
Everybody in sync excepting Ben Hess, who's down on the inside. He was a lap car.
So as they come by, you have 14 cars in that lead draft. What's it feel like when you're the 6th or 7th guy out there in that draft?
I don't know. Sometimes it feels pretty good, sometimes it doesn't. But in a situation like this, I think all these boys right now are just sort of, again, feeling themselves out. I keep saying this, but that's really what they're trying to make time right now. They can stay in line, just stay up there. They don't have to worry about nobody running to the side of them or running in the back of them. And I think they're probably pretty well being cautious as far as that part is concerned.
Well, there's Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte making a move on the outside. Jeff Purvis. Jarrett trying to take over the 8th position, and he does it and brings Bobby Labonte with him. Bobby Labonte now is in the top 10. He started in 25th place in the Joe Gibbs car. His car has been strong here all week.
Let's go to David Hobbs. Well, I'm with Steve Kins's dancing partner. Phil, what happened out there?
Well, David, I was trying to, the 66 car was in front of us coming off to the lap before, and he just all but stopped. I jumped down underneath him to go underneath him, and the 26 and the 43 went by on the high side. And we got back down over here. I had to run on 26 car, went going down in 1, and obviously, he didn't know I was there, and the spotter didn't tell him I was there, and he just turned down into me, and that put me my right front corner into him, turned him sideways, and it carried us both to the wall. I can't believe it. I think the TriStar Ultra Custom Wheel, Ford was really strong today. We had to start the back because we got run over Thursday, so we had to start at the back, and we were going to the front twice, and we just a victim of circumstances. I hate it. I mean, it's one of those deals.
It's real tough luck, Phil, and back to you, Kim, with the rest of the race. Thank you.
Further back in the field, what a bad break for Phil Parsons. Had that magnificent Grand National win at Charlotte a couple of years back. Look at this racing further back in the field. There's Dick Trickle on the inside. Morgan Shepherd lines up with car number 7 as we look at this contest back in the 16th position.
They get back there and get a running start at each other. 2 of them pull out and get side by side. Then 2 or 3 of them behind get a running start. And then when they get there's no place to go. So then it makes a lot of confusion.
Kinser's car has been officially withdrawn now from the race. Car number 26, too much damage, and has been withdrawn.
Bill Elliott got passed by Dale Jarrett the last lap, and that sort of scrambled things up there, so Bill has dropped back a little bit. There's Bobby Labonte down on the inside. That's Jarrett out from just taking over the 5th position from Ted Musgrave.
Gordon in front. Out of Carlos.
4 of them right there in a row.
Yeah, and dominate. Look at that Ford 36.
Running laps of over 191 miles an hour. Thought speed was just 193.
Dale Jarrett back in 5th. It's a little separation between the front 4 and himself. He's trying to get back up on the rear end of Schrader's number 25. And the 75 car, Todd Bodine, he is flying.
Yes, he is. He came out of the pits in 15th position, Ken, and now he has moved up to the 8th position. Todd Bodine on the move.
Picking up another spot now, and he's up to 7th as Bodine with 75. Had a very poor pit stop, which dropped him back from 5th to 15th, and he's making time on Musgrave in the 16. This is Todd Bodine, headed right down on the apron at 190 plus the other day in the tri-oval area.
Bill Elliott's in trouble. He's coming on the pit road. I don't mean that he's spinning or anything like that, but we understand that he might have a tire down.
Car number 94, Elliott eases down. What is it, 65 miles an hour in pit road
65
today?
miles an hour is the pit road speed.
That really looks slow when everybody else is running 190 miles an hour. When everybody stops under caution, then it doesn't look that slow, but it is awful slow when everybody else is running.
You ran most of your races when it was wide open on pit road. 8 3/10 seconds to get that tire change, get it back out there.
He's going to have to hurry, Ken, because the leaders are coming off turn 4. He's trying to get his speed up going into turn 1. He should get his speed up before they get to him, but again, like Mark Martin, he's going to be out there running by himself, and they're drafting at some pretty good speeds here. I'm sorry, Ken.
.39 laps. Good show up in front. Chevy's running 1, 2, 3, 4. Dale Jarrett, the first Ford, in 5th spot.
Well, Bobby brothers hook up. Terry in car number 5, Bobby in number 18 to move around the car number 75 of Todd Bodine.
Drop him back to 9th.
That's Ricky Craven, the rookie, running in 10th place.
front of the field. Getting up toward 40 laps complete. 3 cautions to date. Further back, here's the lead rookie on the pack. Number 41, tail end of that group, just behind Todd Bodine. From Newburgh, Maine, Ricky Craven. Takes over in the Hedrick car this year. You see Todd Bodine just in front of him. And here comes Craven after Todd Bodine.
That's a good run going on the outside. Makes the pass and makes it look easy.
Won his first races up in Wiscasset, Maine. Ask anybody up there, they'll tell you there's the next Pete Hamilton.
He's a great driver. Has a great attitude, too.
I tell you what, if he comes out and does as good as Pete did, Pete drove for us, won a race here in 1970, and won a couple more 500s at Talladega for us. So, I think the difference is that Pete had a couple of 3 years of Winston Cup racing, and Ricky's just learning.
He's been in Grand National and doing well. CBS Sports coverage of the Daytona 500 continues after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the Daytona 500 is sponsored by Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more until you use it. Beechwood aged Budweiser. It's always been true. This Bud's for you. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
We're back under caution. We're under caution for cars 37 and 12. There you see the 12 of Derek Cope, which has come around the track and spun a second time. And there's John Andretti's car, badly torn up, coming onto pit road.
And Derek Cope went on around after getting involved with John Andretti and has a flat tire, went down the front straightaway here, lost control and spun again. In fact, both of his rear tires are flat. His right front tire is flat. Boy, he's going to have a tough time getting back around.
What he probably done is spun on the backstretch, and when he did, he flat-flatted his tires, and instead of stopping in, and he didn't want to lose a lap. He wanted to make another lap and catch up the back of the field. Then he blew right past the start-finish line.
Had he pitted at that point, it would have cost him a lap, so he was hoping to get back around another time. It didn't work out. Here's Mike.
Just what happened, as Richard pointed out, Ken, he came right past our position here toward the turn 1 end of pit road, and both those tires let go almost simultaneously and sent the car into a spin, and may cost him more than the lap as if he had stopped. Be able to stay out this time, most of them.
Pit road was closed. You take a 1-lap penalty if you come in.
No, you go to the longest, go to the end of the longest line. So that really wouldn't hurt him that much as far as pit road being closed. Todd Bodine is coming in. Take a look and see if we can see what happened over there originally. Well, this is Cope after he comes around. See there, the tire let go. The back end went around. The roof flaps come up. So at least he's able to keep it off the wall. But he's coming very slowly. In fact, he didn't make it. He got down into turn 1 and is not going to be able to get back on around.
Let's take a look at that first incident, which happened on the back straightaway.
Well, you can see that was Cope down on the inside of John Andretti coming off the turn. Their cars got a little bit loose. They made contact, and around they came. There again, the roof flaps employed on Derek Cope's car, but he is flat spotting those tires as he has the brakes locked and wearing all the rubber off down to the fabric, and that caught up with him as he came through the tri-oval here.
It looks like him and John got together, like you say. I don't know what happened. You can't really tell where one came down, one went up, or whatever. But anyhow, that's a real bad place. That's just exactly like what we've seen the other couple of cautions coming off of 4. The wind gets to you so much right there. A lot of times turning the wheels doesn't do any good.
Okay, here are the 2 cars we're talking about. Derek Cope down on the inside and John Andretti up on the outside. And you can see Cope's car looks like it's almost sideways as it comes. And we'll move it forward and we'll see them as Cope's car gets around. They had already made a little bit of contact, and Andretti loses control. He shoots back into the outside wall. Cope spins backwards down the backstretch. Then it rights itself. But the damage was done to his tires. He had no sheet metal damage until those tires blew out. But here's John Andretti, and he does have some damage.
And the yellow saved Elliott and Martin from losing a lap. Elliott was only 5 seconds from going down 1.
This Daytona 500 race summary is sponsored by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
After approximately 45 laps, 113 miles, we've had 3 different leaders. Pretty much a story of domination out here by Sterling Marlin. Jeff Gordon has taken over. Speed is very slow at 138.6. And the reason, 4 cautions thus far in the race. 3 cars officially out of the event. Nemechek, hard hit coming out of turn 4. Phil Parsons has been eliminated, and Kinzer. Take a look again at this backstretch incident. Ned?
Well, you can see the white car of John Andretti hanging up against the wall, and he's doing his best to keep that car up there if he possibly can. Maybe he doesn't have a great deal of control, but he likes it staying up there, and anything they can do to keep it up there, they want to do it. As Richard pointed out earlier, keep her in the line that you're in. You stand a much better chance of not getting hit.
Yeah, once it starts going like it, the best thing to do is don't do nothing, and then it'll keep going straight.
Andretti now 2 laps down and in 37th position. Here's David Haas.
Well, I'm in the back of Andretti's pit, and as you can see, he's got a bunch of sticker tires here and very partly worn tires. 2 top guys from NASCAR are here, the guys from Goodyear are here, the Heilig Myers team are here because everybody wants these tires. There is a tire shortage this afternoon, and these guys are gathering here like a lot of vultures or some people at an auction. It's just quite incredible how they're battling over who's going to get these good tires off the Andretti car. Obviously, they're all assuming that the Andretti car's day is as good as run.
Looks like they're having a tire auction over there.
I've seen them pouring it out.
Davy Jones is back on the track. He's 32 laps down. Davy Jones back on once again.
And we're about ready to go green flag racing again. Jeff Gordon leads them down to the start and finish line. The green flag wave. We're off racing.
Gordon first, Marlin second, Earnhardt third, Schrader fourth, Jarrett, Musgrave, Terry Labonte, Bobby Labonte eighth, Ricky Craven ninth, Michael Waltrip 10th. It is Shepard 11th, Rusty Wallace 12th, Lake Speed 13th, followed by Purvis, Dick Trickle, Darrell Waltrip in 16th, Bobby Hamilton 17th, Mike Wallace back there in 18th on that restart.
Todd Bodine was one of those that was running in the top 10 that made a pit stop again during that caution. We saw him drop back a little bit there just before the caution came out, so whatever it was, he decided to come in and get it checked out.
And you again see the car of Ben Hess, the white red numeral number 66 down on the inside. A lap back trying to get in there and just being overwhelmed by that freight train.
It's a long freight train right now as they complete these first couple of laps after the freight comes out.
This shuffle. There you see Jeff Burton in the 8th, and right with him comes Todd Bodine.
Yeah, Bodine made that pit stop, so he's trying to come back up through. I'm sure he has new tires on. Here's Michael Waltrip in the yellow car trying to make a pass.
It's back in 24th position. Meanwhile, with the leaders, Gordon first, Marlin second. Look at Michael Waltrip pacing himself.
Yeah,
number 30.
Past Ricky Craven, now going around Bobby Labonte, right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Makes the pass all by himself. Didn't have anybody drafting with him. That's pretty impressive.
Picks up a couple of slaps. Further back.
Mark Martin is one of those cars caught up in that. He was one of those like Bill Elliott that was fortunate to get that caution flag. Didn't go a lap down after having to make an unscheduled pit stop. There's Dave Marcus in car number 71 out in front of Mark Martin as they scramble for position back in the field. They want to keep on to that lead draft if they possibly can.
Out here, after breaking the record he tied a year ago with Richard Petty for 27 straight starts in this race, 27 starts in the race. Here he comes, closing up on Todd Bodine, and what a race. Marcus is heavy. Waltrip leading that group. Darrell Waltrip in 17th position.
Morgan Shepherd, you see that on the inside with the Wood Brothers car, passing the rookie Ricky Craven. Morgan just took over the 10th position. Started back in 30th, so Morgan's having a good run here today.
And they begin to shake him up in front.
Yes, they do, as Ken Schrader tries to move around Dale Earnhardt on the high side of the racetrack. Dale Jarrett will try to follow Schrader through. Let's see. Earnhardt sort of caught down there, no one drafting with him. Maybe you don't need anyone, but those front two's going to run away while these run side by side.
Double wide, 2, 3, and 4. It's Earnhardt on the inside, Schrader on the outside.
Now Jarrett's going to go with Earnhardt. No, now he goes up behind Schrader.
wall.
Wish you were a spotter right now, huh?
No, I believe I'll just take it the way it is. I wouldn't know what to tell him to do.
That's the deal with being a spotter. You see things happening from here that's not actually happening on the racetrack, or the driver don't feel. So they have to really, takes a while for them to really work with a spotter and a driver to make each other feel comfortable.
It's not just getting up on the roof and calling out numbers.
It's not just seeing the race as we see it here. It's sort of feeling what the driver also feels.
Running order after 50 laps with 23-year-old Jeff Gordon of Pittsburgh, Indiana, who won here 2 years ago in a 125-mile qualifier, looking strong. They're working the 52nd lap at the present time as they bring it by. 130 miles complete with Jeff Gordon in front. Marlin right there in second, and looking like that car has the power, the authority to swing into that lead almost any time he wants, and he's holding those cards close to his best. Schrader stays third. Earnhardt a little further back and forth. Dale Jarrett breaking up that Chevy domination in front.
Here comes Michael Waltrip down on the inside of Jarrett going into the turn as we watch these three Chevrolets up front. But Waltrip couldn't quite make the pass. He had to fall back in behind. Ted Musgrave and Morgan Shepherd run side by side. That is for the 7th position. There's Terry Labonte in car number 5.
Michael Waltrip giving Pontiac something to shout about today here. Net up to 6th spot with that car.
Yeah, Michael came to Daytona with a lot of confidence. He tested well here during the winter. In fact, he recorded the fastest test speed and came here with a lot of confidence that he had a shot at winning this race. He's come close, really, the last several years.
He has run good. He really has, Ned. And just the circumstances wasn't ready for him to do it. But, you know, nobody knows what's happening today either.
You see just behind him Morgan Shepherd in 7th. And don't forget Morgan Shepherd in this race. Over the last 3 years, he has the best average finish of any driver out here at about 4.6, 4.7 for this event. Shepherd right back in there with the Wood brothers in the number 21, and just behind him, Terry Labonte. I think Labonte could be formidable before it's over.
Towards the end of last year, Terry Labonte was the most consistent driver in about the last third of the season. He earned more points than any other driver. Earnhardt, of course, went on to win the championship, but Terry Labonte had the best finishes near the end of the season.
Yeah, Terry's really good. He's just consistent day in, day out, never gets flamboyant with anything. He's just there. He's just tough all the time, and they finally got their act together at the end of the season.
Just feel the speed right here. Doesn't take long to cover 2.5 miles, does it, Ned?
No, it really doesn't. They've slowed the pace to about 188.5 miles an hour now, which is not uncommon. Once the tires gets heated up, the track gets a little bit slicker, so they lose a little traction in the turns, and that, of course, takes speed off around the racetrack.
Well, here's Gordon still clutching that lead. Right with him comes Sterling Marlin in second. Schrader had success last Sunday. His car as an owner won the ARCA 200. Let's not forget that Michael Waltrip, in that unbelievable finish in the 300 yesterday, brought himself to second place, just behind Chad Little. And what a story there. Chad Little from 42nd, dead last to win the 300. Pretty dramatic conclusion to that. Pit road, here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Rick Hendrick right now has 3 cars in the top 8, Ken, including the leader, and he's got 3rd place with Kenny Schrader and 8th with Labonte. You've got a microphone on this headset, Ken. You talk to these guys or let them settle it amongst themselves?
Well, I talked to them, but we're looking at strategy now and when we're going to pit with fuel and hopefully find a groove that we can run in all day. But we're running good right now. I'm listening at the moment.
What are they saying to you?
Cars are working real well, but there's 4 or 5 of those cars are pretty equal. So we just need to stay in line and try to settle it at the end.
Rick Hendrick.
The 75 car working its way to 13th and drawing through the field. Todd Bodine. Remember, he restarted in 25th position, and there you see him closing on Musgrave. Inching ever closer.
That is quite a move.
Trouble in the back straightaway. Got one in the wall. I'd almost say that was Mike Wallace's car, number 90. And it's also the 44 is involved in that as well.
Jeff Purvis.
Oh.
And they're racing back to the line.
That one got thrashed. Jeff Purvis was celebrating his birthday today. Not much.
That's a tough way to do it.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to celebrate.
Oh, hard hit on the number 90. Junie Donlevy's car. That looks terminal for sure. Bad break for Mike. That's the second day in a row. He took an awful cuff yesterday.
Yeah, he ran up front, led the race and everything yesterday.
So
the last lap just used him up. There were 2 laps to go. Had that wreck.
Caution number 5. And there you see the 44 coming to rest. Tennessee driver Jeff Purvis out to clamber out. Didn't he get collected yesterday as well in that final incident?
But he did get hit, but he came on through the debris. His car was banged up, but the race finished under caution, and he finished in the top 5.
Part of it.
You can see Bobby Hamilton come by on the inside, but Mike Wallace up on the outside, and then, of course, the 44 car of Jeff Purvis
has already been hit.
Right. There's Dave Marcus coming by on the inside, car 71.
Another angle. Looks like they must have hit coming out of 2.
Coming out of 2. That's a treacherous spot over there, Richard. That's the shortest turn on the racetrack.
That
coming off the turn.
It's really, really tight. And again, the wind catches you there. You go off the transition from the bank onto the straightaway. And you know, if you're not got everything lined up just already straight down the straightaway, it don't work too good.
At lap 57, they were battling for 18th position when the incident took place, which has brought out the 5th caution of the day.
And caution is, pit stops are coming up.
Back with more in just a moment from Daytona. Across the street from the Speedway, NASCAR World takes you from the grandstand to the garage. First, be a part of your very own pit crew on an actual race car. Then rub shoulders with a few fellow drivers.
I think it's great. Should have done it a long time ago.
It's fun. I just got free cards.
After you call the race like the pros, you can take home the videotape or any other souvenir imaginable. You'll be in the driver's seat of this 250,000 square foot racing attraction that explores all areas of the racing world with interactive attractions. For racing fans, it's an insider experience. You can sit down and listen to your favorite driver stories. This week, a lot of fans found a new good time in NASCAR racing. NASCAR World is right across the track, right across the road from the track here. Well, there's Jeff Purvis's car being brought in. You can see the roll bars on the right. They've made such a difference with these cars over the years. They keep improving them, and those cages are so stout. Let's take another look at that replay and take a listen to what happened out of turn 2.
Oh, it's scraping that metal off when it came out of there.
Some race car there.
But there again, he was able to keep it up on the high side of the racetrack.
We have a report that a crewman was injured down in the Brett Bodine pit. We'll update you on that in a moment. Todd Bodine, incidentally, has made a great move through the field. And by the way, number 12, Derek Cope, is back on the track. He is now running the Bobby Allison car 16 laps down in the 38th position. We're trying to get you more on that Brett Bodine story. We're 1 lap away from a restart with 60 laps complete. Dave Marcus will...
well, he was the leader, but he came in, Ken. He stayed out there to get 5 bonus points, so he has done that now. So he's coming in. He'll be at the back of the pack. Mark Martin takes over the lead now.
Marcus just pulls in as they're getting the signal for 1 more lap to go. That's the 4th Daytona 500 that he has led in 28 starts. Here's David Hobbs.
Mike Wallace, what happened there coming up turn 2?
Well, the car just got really loose on me getting off of 2. You know, Darrell Waltrip and I had been working together for the last 15 laps or so, and wanted to stay with him, and he was up underneath the car, and I was trying to get underneath Purvis off of 2, and my car just got dead loose. And I thought I had it saved, and then I had it straight, and it went back the other way, and unfortunately I gathered Jeff up in the thing at the same time. I'm sorry on his behalf, and it's unfortunate. Heiligmeyer's Ford Thunderbird was running really well, and guess it's a short day for us here.
That's very tough on you, Mike. And, of course, a sidebar to this story is that just a few moments ago we saw the Heiligmeyer's people pick up some new tires from the Andretti pit and bring them down to this car and swap them from the scuffed tires. And now the Goodyear people and NASCAR officials are right in the Heiligmeyer's garage taking those new tires somewhere else. Just shows how short these tires are this weekend, Ken.
Indeed, David. But the auction goes on, and it'll be all over anyone that falls out of this race. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, almost everyone in this part of pit road took on 4 tires and a full load of gasoline, 22 gallons. The notable exceptions, Todd Bodine and Mark Martin. They had both made unscheduled pit stops, and so to try to get better track position on the restart, they got gas only, no tires, so they were in and out of here 5 to 6 seconds faster than the teams that took on tires also.
Thanks, Mike. We're just about down for a start, and as we come down, Mark Martin will be leading the field, and Todd Bodine, who took this to a little over 7 seconds in the pits for fuel only. He had some tires he put on back on lap 44. How about that? There's a fan that's energized for today's race.
You better believe it, buddy.
Anyway, Bodine is now up in second spot behind Mark Martin. Jeff Gordon back in third, Marlon fourth, Earnhardt, Schrader, Shepard, Wallace, Dale Jarrett, and Steve Grissom round out the top 10.
Again, it takes a while to get the cars up to speed. With the restrictor plate engines, they're required to run here at Daytona.
Why so much trouble in turn 2 today, folks?
Well, you got to figure the first 2 caution flags was in number 4. The second 2 is
right
over there. So, like I said, they're about the same way. The transition to the way you come off the corners onto the straightaway, and like you said, that's where the cars get the very loosest with no wind with them, and away they go.
Front 4 coming by. Martin, Bodine, Gordon, Marlin to the stripe. Ford, Chevy. Martin staying up in front. Mark Martin has said he calls this Daytona track the world center of frustration. Close a lot of times.
It's very easy to get that way. You run and you've had a good week, and then all of a sudden just one little thing knocks you out of the biggest race of the year, and it can get very, very frustrating.
Here's Jeff Gordon dropping to the inside, Ned.
He wants to put his Chevrolet back out front. There are 2 Fords out there right now, and he brings Sterling Marlin with him, moves up beside of Todd Bodine coming off turn 4. And it looks like the line's going to follow down there. They know those Chevrolets are fast, so they're going to try to follow them on through. 190.7 miles an hour the last lap for Mark Martin.
Chevrolets down to the inside as they challenge. Mark Martin stays in front. Gordon comes to second. Up on the outside is Bodine, fighting with Sterling Marlin just behind the Earnhardt.
And Marlin caught by himself down there. Now Gordon comes down maybe to try to help him a little bit, but he might be too far behind there to get help. So Earnhardt's going to go by Sterling Marlin. See, no one drafting him behind him. That's where he needs somebody to help push him on along. Now he pulls back up beside of Earnhardt as the 75 car pulls down. That'll give him a little bit of suction from the front. But now they hit the straightaway, and he's down there by himself again.
That's what they say, hang you out to dry. That's what you do. You make an effort to do something, and all of a sudden that wind hits that car, and you just wonder what happens.
You could see Morgan Shepherd's car just in the back of the frame getting a little squirrely in number 21, and we're seeing a few raindrops now, Ned.
Yeah, it looks like on the camera there that there were a few raindrops. It's still very overcast here at the Daytona International Speedway. Now Marlin will get behind Earnhardt. He found the hole there.
65 laps are complete. Let's go to the pits for this update from Dick Berggren.
Well, Ken, the injury on the 11 team, Brett Bodine's team, was to the left side tire changer, Bob Barton. He got some gas splashed into his eyes. He is in the infield care center right now. They are saying here in the pits it is not a serious injury. He's liable to be back before the race is over.
Earnhardt thunders down to the inside.
And I think he expected Marlin to go with him. Marlin did not go with him. So Earnhardt might be hung out to dry, as Richard said, down on the inside.
Here's Gordon looking to the inside. Ford Chevy battle for the lead in the Daytona 500.
And watch the train go by Earnhardt on the outside. He just has no help drafting.
Let us remind you again, 5 cars have onboard cameras, but without the helicopter to transmit the signals back, we're unavailable to bring them to you. And because of the very low ceiling, they're not being allowed to fly the blimp nor that helicopter, nor any helicopter for that matter, at this time here at the track, except for that miniature one. Jeff Gordon is on his mic to his crew, and he is reporting that it is raining in turns 1 and 2.
Now look at Earnhardt. He got a run there, went by Rusty Wallace coming off of turn 2, just blew right on by Rusty. Dale Jarrett trying to go by Rusty going into turn 3. He has some momentum going as well.
And for 7th position,
Jeff Burton in the car number 8 there that they were passing by.
Here you see Morgan Shepherd trying to close in on Schrader. Woo! Double wide and then some coming down out of 4.
And Mark Martin getting caught up on the outside as the train reverses and goes by him on the inside. Now Rusty drops down to the inside. Car number 2, Dale Jarrett, goes with him.
Kyle Petty in traffic. The in the 42 car fighting with Jeff Bodine in car number 7. That for 22nd spot. Back up amongst the leaders. Change there.
Marlin has gotten back up to 2nd now. They're going to throw the caution because of the rain.
Yellow is going to be thrown on the track.
They'll race back to the start-finish line here. We're not at the halfway point, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference, but they want to get every position they can.
Coming to lap 69. Complete. As they come to the strike, Jeff Gordon comes across first. Marlin 2nd. Bodine is 3rd, and it looked dead even between Schrader and Earnhardt. We'll sort that out for you in just a moment. Raining a bit, Daytona. Just about to do that. They're saying 2 laps before they turn them loose. Here's the running order as we get set to go to green in the Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon first, Marlin 2nd, Dale Earnhardt 3rd. Flipping back to Todd Bodine, Schrader, and Morgan Shepherd through the 6th spot. Then it's Wallace, Dale Jarrett, and Mark Martin. You see Terry Labonte and Bobby Labonte running in tandem. And Bill Elliott back there in 12th. These are all in the lead lap. Musgrave, Michael, and Darrell. There's 5 brother acts out here today. A couple of them doing well. Here's Dick Trickle and Lake Speed, Ricky Rudd. Back in the 19th spot, breaking the top 20, Bobby Hamilton, followed by Joe Ruttman and the rookie Ricky Craven. Grissom, Kyle, Ward Burton. Still all in the lead lap. Jeff Bodine, Robert Presley, Loy Allen.
The 31 cars still in the lead lap, and pit road now is open. So if they choose to pit when they come around this time, they'll be able to do so. I don't remember exactly how many laps they ran under green since they made their last pit stop. So it might be that they don't necessarily need tires, but those that would be concerned about, they only ran about 7 or 8 laps, so it shouldn't be a concern. I think they'll probably live with the tires they got on there.
A lap, and we'll be back to green. Here's David Hobbs.
Well, they probably will live with the tires they've got, Ned, because the pit lane down here is still very wet. Although they put those tarpaulins over, they had their cooling fans blowing to try and dry it off. Here's one car coming in. That looks like the 8th car from the front here, but it's got to be very careful coming down pit lane. There's a couple more following in. Oh, there's a whole phalanx of them coming in now. These are the guys here at the back. But as you say, of course, there's Jeff Bodine's car. The number 12 car. Here comes Dave Marcus right in where we are. Obviously going to take a chance and change some tires and put more gas. Yeah?
Randy LaJoie is the last car in the lead lap. He was showing his 31st, nothing to lose there. Comes in, gets ready to come back again with Jeff Bodine coming off pit road as well. Rick Mast also coming out with car number 1.
Yeah, these guys are making pit stops. They had very little to lose because they were at the back of the pack already. And hey, they get new tires on. If those that chose to change tires, if not just top off the fuel, they can go another 7 or 8 laps.
That's another 7 or 8 laps that the leaders will have to stop, and it'll give those boys a chance to get back up to the front if they do have a caution or something like that. So, and if they at the back of the pack and they do stop under green, then they're going to lose a lap. So they need to be just as far up as they can.
Ben Hess took some extra time. Then he came back out as you watch the field assembling in the back straightaway, getting ready on this restart. They'll be following Jeff Gordon, 23 years old, to the line. Dick Berggren.
Well, Kyle Petty has adjusted his race car all day long. I should say the crew has adjusted his race car all day long. They wanted to come in and make another adjustment, but when NASCAR said only 1 lap until the green flag, they decided they didn't have enough time. So Kyle's back out there again, but the car is not the way he wants it.
There'll be 78 laps complete as they get green. Jeff Gordon, who 5 years ago had never driven a stock car, leading the field down out of turn 4, and he's led the most laps to date, probably 31 or 32 with these extra caution laps. He's just been run off, getting ready for green to be thrown out. Pace car is in. Lap cars on the bottom, cars in that lead lap, 31 strong on the outside. See Jeff Bodine in the Johnson car down at the bottom. He is running 32nd, a lap down with Jeff Burton with him in 33rd. Ooh, they run him 4 wide. How about 5?
Well, they'll get it down to 2 when we got this turn.
They got it down to 3, then they got it down to 2.
That Petty kid down on the bottom making the big move.
Still a little damp. See the black on the outside of the racetrack there, and they'll run it down a little bit, and they'll just keep working that back out. The exhaust and stuff will dry that right off.
Yeah, at the pace they're going, once they get up to speed, it'll dry it out pretty quickly.
The tires get hotter, the car gets hotter, and as it goes across, it'll just dry that right up. Don't look like it slowed them down, does it?
Lengthy stop for rain, and nobody seems to be concerned. They were told it was a go, and they're on it. Into turn 1. Choppers going up, and we'll have race cam pictures for you shortly, folks. Still no change among those leaders.
Earnhardt looks like he wants to make a change, but Todd Bodine in car number 75. Now Bodine goes up a little bit on the banking. Earnhardt drives down under him. He's going to try to make it a pass, and I predict he'll do it. He does.
Bring Schrader with him.
Yeah, Shepard too.
And Shepard.
Well, Shepard's not by yet, but he had a good run on him.
He's getting some help from Wallace as well down on the bottom. Drawing away a bit. Gordon and Marlin first and second. A little bit of interval, and that'll disappear as Earnhardt closes ground. With him comes Schrader. Red number 25. New colors for Schrader this year. Last lap at 190 mile an hour average. Close enough to almost reach out and touch someone.
Sound like a commercial, doesn't it?
Tri-oval. How tricky here, Richard, these kind of speeds?
It is pretty tricky. You'd think that the dog leg would be just like going down a straightaway, but it's not. You have to be in the right place down there. The cars get loose getting through there. More than pushing, they get loose going through the dog leg.
Back end comes out. Got to correct it.
Yeah, the car gets real light. You're running because it's not but 18-degree banks there, and you're running almost as fast as you're going to run anywhere on the racetrack.
You saw Steve Grissom back there fighting his way up to in that black and gold number 29 this year. This for the lead. Front four getting a little separation. Morgan Shepherd about 20 car lengths back in 5th. Rusty Wallace lies 6th. Todd Bodine has fallen to 7th and into the grip of Dale Jarrett in 8th. Just behind him, Michael Waltrip. Ninth.
Those 4 cars really doing a good job of drafting, have been able to pull away a little bit from the 5th place car, Morgan Shepherd.
83 complete this time by. They snapped the whip and pulled away a bit. Now Shepherd needs somebody to dance with him here to pull back into this thing.
Rusty Wallace coming up there to try to help do that. You have 4 Fords running in the line. You have 4 Chevrolets up front, 4 Fords, and then the Pontiac of Michael Waltrip in the 9th position.
Looking back from Shepherd in 5th to Wallace, Todd Bodine, Dale Jarrett, Michael Waltrip, Mark Martin climbers by Darrell Waltrip up into 10th. Staying at 190.6. 47 2/10 of a second to cover 2.5 miles.
Here, a lot of cars scrambling back in the field. Robert Presley in the green car in the center there. Kyle Petty making a move on him.
Dick Trickle down on the inside.
Yep, number 15.
Working on Jeff Burton in the number 8. Back with the leaders. Here's Michael Waltrip on the bottom of the racetrack.
Bringing his brother Darrell right with him past Dale Jarrett.
Front 4. See the separation now as they try to get away from Morgan Shepherd and the rest of the field.
And nobody's really too happy about running in line. Looks like all of them are still racing each other. They'll run 1 or 2 laps in line, and then they'll start pulling out on each other, and then everybody catches up. That's what they're doing now. They look like they're in line, and they'll catch right back up with the leaders.
4th to 5th, now 0.8 of a second. The interval between Schrader and Morgan Shepherd.
These guys up front know if they don't start racing each other that they have a good chance of staying out in front of the pack behind them and maybe even pull away a little bit. So that's why they're not doing too much dicing there now.
Here's that second group. Shepherd 5th. And you see Wallace, Bodine, Michael Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip.
Michael and Darrell getting racy, coming down on the inside of Todd Bodine, making a pass on him.
Dale Jarrett along with them. The interval now 0.9 of a second between 4th and 5th. Those front 4, they're trying to skedaddle.
Well, they're doing everything they can. They're just running in line and making time again, and they're not really wanting to race with each other. They just want to go ahead and run, get another 100 miles under their belt, make a pit stop, and then see where they come out from there.
Brothers are really working well together. These 4 Chevrolets are working well together too, but right there, the yellow car of Michael Waltrip in front of his brother Darrell Waltrip, and they've found a combination there that's working for them.
.86 complete. Take a look at the Waltrip brothers in the 17 and the 30. Right behind Rusty Wallace. Wallace closing it up here. Morgan Shepherd just in front of them. Then Rusty Wallace, followed by the 30. Michael Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th right there. And for the first time today, we have in-car pictures. Got it up in the air. The chopper transmitting these pictures back from Mark Martin. '14th position, Mark Martin. That chopper still climbing. We'll have a little better picture very shortly for you. Dale Jarrett from his bumper cam giving you these pictures.
Looking out at Bill Elliott, who's running behind him.
9th and 10th. Old Sitter Jarrett has yet to lead a lap if you're just joining us. Here's Sterling Marlin's camera. Marlin running in 3rd spot just behind Jeff Gordon's 2nd. Part of that quartet up in front trying to break away from the field. Snapping the whip and trying to leave the rest behind so they could decide it among the 4 of them. But it's very early for that. They're still a few laps shy of halfway. Mark Martin.
We're looking right in the side window of Mark Martin as he does his job here on a Sunday afternoon. Mark, one of the smallest fellows in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, but he's one of the strongest.
And certainly the most physically fit. But what a regimen he is.
Oh, yes. He works out 5 days a week.
Did you ever work out a lot, Richard?
That was my problem. I didn't.
Yeah.
I worked out on Sunday, and then the race car usually worked on me. But
Linda said the hardest working out, you were getting out of bed by noon.
Something like that. But no, circumstances are so much different now than it used to be. If I'd have been in shape, I would have been a lot better. But now it's the way the racing and stuff is, that it's the demanding part of the sport now. Used to, the drivers just did their thing. Now they've got to be in that much better shape because the cars are in better shape. They have to run them harder, longer than what we used to have to do.
Ricky Rudd still having a good run in the car number 10.
And Lake Speed in that number 9's having a fine run this afternoon.
Kyle Petty right on the back bumper of Ricky Rudd, drafting up through there. Michael Waltrip making the pass going into turn 3. He's going to get that crew a little bit further behind than those up front. Those 4 continue to pull away as Waltrip makes a move on Rusty Wallace, and his brother Darrell comes with him down on the inside of the track. They're trying to pick up the draft of Morgan Shepherd. Morgan's running in 5th. Michael Waltrip now moves to 6th. Darrell moves to 7th. Dale Jarrett trying to move on the inside of Rusty Wallace. He's sort of caught on the outside of the racetrack without help, and here's Jarrett making it 3 deep into turn 1.
Pretty good running. Take a look at Dale Jarrett down on the bottom, and from inside his car closing in. Boy, it looks rough out there in 1. That looks rougher than it did in the 125s, Ned.
You mean the racetrack or the run?
The racetrack.
No, the racetrack is rough.
Bouncing around.
It's pretty rough down in the middle of 1 and 2. There's always been a big bump down there. And if you'll notice, the boys try to miss it or at least split it a little bit. And sometimes when you get like that, you got to go all 4 wheels in it. It's really rough.
Well, there's no way it can change that much in 2 or 3 days, but boy, those pictures sure look like
maybe they got stiffer shocks.
Some work. Yeah, I'd say he's got stiffer shocks. Wow, what a ride. Daytona 500's where you're at, folks, and we'll stay with it to its conclusion.
CBS Sports coverage of the Daytona 500 is sponsored by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Old Spice High Endurance Deodorant. For long-lasting odor protection, now you've got proof, not promises. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
94 laps, 235 miles are complete, working toward the halfway point here in the 500. The front cars all together. You have them coming down the main straightaway. There you see the trio out in front, and they've got a little separation from Schrader, but not much. Then here's the move back to the 5th and 6th place cars. Morgan Shepherd, followed by Mike Waltrip.
And this pack of cars, Darrell Waltrip, Bill Elliott, Bobby Labonte is in there now, Dale Jarrett. They have been doing some big-time racing and passing back there while we were away on the commercial break, sometimes 3 deep, and took my breath a few times, but they all managed to get through, but they're losing ground to the leaders.
And let's look at that interval again and not overlook that Rusty Wallace car, which continues to pound right up behind the 21 and the 30 of Morgan Shepherd and Michael Waltrip. They're the 4 leaders. Here you are back in 5th and 6th, and look at Wallace coming on with Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip, and Terry Labonte into the picture in car number 5. 4th to 5th is now 3 7/10 seconds. That's the interval between Schrader in 4th and Morgan Shepherd in 5th. Front 4 back together again. Earnhardt pitches to the outside.
Well, his car really went high, but he has some momentum. He's trying to make the pass.
And he's bringing Schrader with him.
The 4 car got loose coming off the corner. He had to lift a little bit. That's the reason he caught him so quick.
Chevrolets in the front 4. Ford in 5th, Pontiac in 6th. And boy, are they wiggling. Handful. $10,000 bonus for the halfway leader.
And while
here comes trouble down here in turn 4 as they're coming down. Looks like Todd Bodine out of control, spinning, headed for the grass, and 4 cars took evasive action, including Bobby Hamilton, Ward Burton, Ruttman, and Ben Hess down pit road. It was either hit pit road or forget about their cars.
And pit road speed didn't apply that time. They were coming down pit road, they were racing.
Any emergencies, they let it go by. But if those boys hadn't have done that, they'd have been out in the grass, and then you'd have had a heck of a wreck.
7th flag of the day. Wreck strewn in rain. The story here, Bodine getting loose in turn 4, and a very lucky racer. CBS Sports coverage of the 1995 Daytona 500 continues after this message and a word from your local station. Coming up on halfway, and after all of those pit stops, that, what, $10,000 bonus, Ned? Something like that? 8-10 grand? Guess who's up there ready to take it? Hello?
Earnhardt's up front. Okay, here's another angle at that accident that Todd Bodine, coming out of the pack, coming off turn 4, brought this caution out. Everybody gets by. Several of the cars went down pit road to avoid hitting him. His car finally rights itself, gets going in the right direction, and no major damage to him and none to anyone else.
Craven and Grissom made a remarkable move. Those were the 2 cars closest to him. They missed him by inches. And you saw Bobby Hamilton take the 43 down, and he shot down pit road not to get collected in that thing. So they're coming to halfway right now. Pace car is coming in. We're exactly half the distance. There you see the Jeff Bodine number 11 down on the inside, a lap car. We still have 30 cars in the lead lap. The one car that has dropped out is Todd Bodine.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon was leading the race, and he is 20th on this restart. He had a long pit stop.
He won't be there long.
No, so he has a fast race car. He'll be coming back up through there, and we'll keep an eye on him.
Long, like 36 seconds.
Riding with Mark Martin.
Taking a look at the telemetry here in Mark Martin's car as he heads down the back straightaway.
Yeah, getting up to speed. It'll take a while. He's up to 182, 185, 186 there. You can see the RPMs, 106 to 700. Takes a little longer to get the engines revved up on these restrictor plate engines. Now you can see the speed is picking up 190 miles an hour as he starts down the front straightaway here, drafting.
Went back just a little as it came to the tri-oval. Let's watch as it added just a touch of the brake up to 193, 194. Let's go up into that first turn then.
And then he will pick up probably 190 or so down the backstretch. Jeff Gordon, as we said, back in 20th place. He's coming towards the front. Has a lot of cars to come through. He has to be careful coming through here. Passing Jeff Burton in the 8 car. He's a lap down. But Michael Waltrip taking the lead.
Michael Waltrip around Earnhardt, and he's bringing Sterling Marlin with him. Those are the front 3. There's a cluster right behind them as they come down the back straightaway through 3 and 4 and back to the tri-oval. That move started as they approach turn 3. Let's go to Dick Bergman.
Well, Jeff Gordon has got his work cut out for him, having to pass all these cars because of a bad pit stop. Now, last year, Gordon's crew won the Pit Crew Championship. That sort of put a bullseye on him, and over the wintertime, this team was raided, and several key players went to other teams. What happened on the pit stop? They got a little bit behind with the left front. Jack dropped early. That's ordinarily the signal for the car to leave, but one of these brave crew members jumped in front of the car to prevent that from happening. They rejacked the car, tightened all the lugs, but that's why it took him so long to get out of the pits, and look at him now on the high side.
He's moving around Musgrave, way up on the outside of the east end of the speedway. Gets caught for just a moment in traffic. He's directly behind, up to 14th. Behind Elliott. Going around Kyle Petty down on the inside in the Pontiac number 42. Double wide all the way around here as they battle for the lead. Kyle Petty back on the inside of number 94. Leaders. And look at Bobby Labonte coming up.
Trying to pass Michael Waltrip for second.
4 car done got by the 30 car and went on, hadn't he?
Yes, the 4 car, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, Sterling Marlin got by him and has driven on. He drove out the picture there for a minute.
While we was busy watching 24.
Michael Waltrip to second, Earnhardt to third, and then everybody.
That's right. Then everybody else.
Look at Bobby Labonte stay right in there with Schrader. See Bobby Labonte, the green front of the car. Joe Gibbs' car that Dale Jarrett drove to victory here a couple of years back, and Schrader hanging tough on the outside. Out of 2 leaders, Marlin, Waltrip, Earnhardt. Earnhardt leading at halfway.
Darrell Waltrip going on the inside, getting Bobby Labonte caught up in the middle of a 3-wide draft there. Bobby don't want to be in that position for very long. Dale Jarrett comes down on the inside of him. Bill Elliott up on the outside of him. There's Jeff Gordon. He has caught this pack while they were doing all that dicing around.
Nothing to do for Bobby Labonte but fall back when he's caught in the middle like that. Fall back he does. 107th lap where they're working at this time. Marlin, Michael Waltrip, Earnhardt, Ken Schrader, Morgan Shepherd.
Now Earnhardt goes to the high side. Schrader, he gave him the signal. He goes up there too. But the 2 yellow cars, they worked well down on the inside and still maintain the lead.
Bobby Labonte falls from 3rd to 15th.
That's Mrs. Gordon, Brooke, Jeff Gordon's wife, watching, listening.
As he sweeps under Bill Elliott on the bottom. Comes up on Dale Jarrett. Continuing this assault, moving through the field from 20th spot. Well, that looks like an Earnhardt run in the Busch Clash out there right now, Ned, and we're still at half distance.
Michael Waltrip got caught up on the high side, and he has gone from 2nd place back to about 8th or 9th, all in 1 lap.
Ready to break into the top 10, Jeff Gordon in the number 24. 107 laps now complete in the 500.
Race Summary is sponsored by Texaco Haviland. Add more life to your car.
After 270 miles, 108 laps have been completed. Reporting 6 official lead changes among 6 leaders with the average speed way down to 127 miles an hour. 7 cautions, the big story, but only 5 of the 42 starters are out. Nemechek, Parsons, Kinzer, Purvis, and Mike Wallace have officially retired. We think that perhaps Todd Bodine may be the next name to be added to that list. He has gone back behind the wall with car number 75. NCAA basketball, it is Indiana leading Michigan 3-0 in the first half. We're going to be staying with the Daytona 500 until its completion after an hour and a half plus. Under rain here, we'll stay with the 500 and watch Sterling Marlin for the moment out in front with Earnhardt in 2nd. Trying to be the first man in 10 years plus to win it back-to-back. Here's Sterling Marlin staying there as you look at the running order. And he picks it. Go right ahead, Richard.
That looked like Elliott's off the pace. He's getting ready to come down pit road here.
Bill Elliott drops onto pit road in number 94 with his new team. Based back in Dawsonville, Georgia.
This certainly would be an unscheduled pit stop for Bill Elliott.
85 and 87 champion in the 500. On pit road, this at lap 111.
I believe the right rear tire looked like that it might have been flat, Ken, or low. That's what we're told that it is, that the right rear tire was flat on Bill Elliott's car.
Darrell Waltrip almost tagged Elliott, and he slowed abruptly down there in the turn 2 area of the track.
It's going to put Bill a lap down. He's just leaving pit road, and they coming across start-finish line, so he's going to get a lap down right there.
Marlin stays first, Earnhardt in 2nd, Shepherd in 3rd, Schrader 4th. And here they are about to put a lap on Bill Elliott.
Not a thing in the world he can do about it. He's trying to get his car up to speed, and they are up to speed, so they just whisk right on by.
And that puts 29 cars into the lead lap. And here's Gordon still attacking, still chewing up the field. That for 7.
And here's Ken Schrader trying to take over 3rd from Morgan Shepherd. Dale Jarrett following Schrader right on through there.
Dick Berggren
We can confirm that Bill Elliott indeed did have a flat tire, but in addition to that, he stalled the car leaving pit road, and that is why he is now running as far behind as he is.
Merlin and Earnhardt getting a chance to draw a way bit here as Schrader runs side by side with Morgan Shepherd. Dale Jarrett, what a move he's made.
Well, Schrader was up beside of Morgan Shepherd, almost had him cleared. Then Jarrett ran up behind Shepherd, got some momentum going, and moved around. But here comes Schrader back on the inside of Jarrett. So it depends on who Jeff Gordon follows. And you bet your life he'll follow the car of Ken Schrader because they're teammates.
No, it don't make no difference if teammates or not. Whoever's quickest one, he's going to follow.
And there's Gordon down on the inside, working on Mark Martin now as he continues to climb up the ladder into 6. Loses a bit of ground there on the outside.
Now this is looking out the rear bumper of Dale Jarrett. That car is a little bit closer than it looks from the camera angle.
Remember that Jarrett is in 5th position. And there's his look up to the 4th place as you check the telemetry. Chasing down Schrader.
Getting up 67, 6,800 RPMs, 194 miles an hour just as he starts into the turn. That's about what he ran when he qualified. It was about 194 going into that turn. Of course, he's out there by himself then.
And you can see those two later drawing away a bit, Ned.
Yeah, as these drivers race for position back there, that's what happens.
Jarrett in 5th. In 6th is Mark Martin. And it's even across between Gordon and the 24 and Rusty Wallace. For the moment, Gordon popped in front of him, and then Wallace came right back up on top.
Yeah, Gordon's not getting a great deal of help from drafting down on the low side of the racetrack there. Now he finally makes the pass on Rusty Wallace coming off of turn 2. Wallace's car pushed up a little bit going into turn 2.
Everybody using a different line out there. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's go to David Hobbs.
Well, I'm with Todd Bodine in the garage area. They're fixing your car, or are they just looking at it?
They're just checking it out. It's terminal. It's something in the motor internal, a wrist pin or piston or something like that. It started vibrating real bad, and I just shut it down. It's a shame the factory stores Ford was running great, and I spun out and cost us a lap, but I think we could have got it back. We were running that strong, and Scott Paper Towels is on the car this year, and we wanted to run good for them. Just we had a good week going, a 4th and a 5th, and now we got a DNF.
Well, you got 31 races to go. Tough luck though. The Daytona 500 is the big one. Ken?
Bad break for Todd Bodine, who looked so strong out here in those 125 milers. Now Waltrip pacing himself, moving up through the field after he had trouble, back shortly.
Just look on the racetrack and say, okay, that's what they're running.
Back with you at Daytona. 119 laps are down in the 95 Daytona 500. Defending champion Sterling Marlin is in front with Earnhardt in 2nd. Maintaining 3rd. Big fight out there with Ken Schrader holding that slot for the moment, and Dale Jarrett has closed it right back up for 4th position. The 93 winner is there knocking on the door with that Robert Yates car that's won here with Davey Allison. It has won here with Ernie Irvin. Let me see.
No, Ernie Irvin won in that 4 car that's running out front.
Up here.
But those 4 cars kind of pulled away a little bit from Morgan Shepherd. Morgan's car seems to be pushing up a little bit in the turns, so they have pulled away. You can see there he is. Mark Martin is running in the 6th place. Then comes Ted Musgrave. Jeff Gordon is up to 8th after 20th after his pit stop, so he's climbed back up through there pretty good, but he had to use his tires up a lot coming up through that traffic.
Morgan Shepherd back a ways from these front 4 in the 5th position, followed by 6 Mark Martin, then Ted Musgrave in 7th, and Jeff Gordon 8th.
Dale Jarrett had a run on Ken Schrader coming off of turn 2 trying to make a pass that might cost him.
Look at Jarrett come to the inside.
they don't need to run side by side for very long. Ken Schrader figured that out very quickly because he knew that front twosome would get away from him.
So the Ford moves back up into third spot. Chevy 1 and 2. Ford now third. Chevy and Ford.
Marlin running right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Earnhardt running up high. And there you see Jarrett's running low as well. They made some adjustments on his car during the last pit stop on Jarrett's car, and seems to be working a little bit better on the low side of the track than it was earlier.
A little alternating of lines out there at this point, which you usually get at this time in the race.
Really, they're looking for wherever the car works the best. You know, if the car's pushing them, you run one place. If it's loose, you run another place. And they just trying to hit a happy medium. And what happened a lot of times, the boys will call over the phone or over the radio and tell them how fast they're running, and then they'll just look for a groove, and whichever is the fastest.
Bobby Labonte gets by Wallace as he slips back a spot into 11th. Here's Dick Berggren.
Jeff Gordon's charge to the front has been slowed for a couple of reasons. First, he's running all by himself on the racetrack without any help. But perhaps even more importantly, he is unable to get out of turn 2 as quickly as he might like. The only way they're going to fix that, make a pit stop. They're not going to do that under a green flag, though, I'll guarantee you.
Morgan Shepherd is caught up now. Mark Martin is there, working on him. There you see the 24 car. Got a 3-car draft going on in that 5th position. Musgrave back in 7th, Martin in 6th, Morgan Shepherd in 5th. There it is, and then you see just behind them in 8th, Jeff Gordon.
And Morgan Shepherd is sort of running by himself there a few laps ago, and now Mark Martin has caught up to him. That should help him. And, of course, the car number 16, which is Mark Martin's teammate, Ted Musgrave, 3 Fords running together.
Look at Earnhardt taking that much higher line coming off, too. Really uses up that racetrack.
That gives him a good run and start down the backstretch. Makes you run fast there. So you lose a little time in the corner, but you make it up back down the straightaway. So the main deal is how fast you get back to start finish line, not how, you know.
Now, when Jarrett passed Schrader a few laps ago, they lost some ground to the front runners, but they're gradually running them down. They're getting closer and closer on them each lap.
Mark Martin looking in on this man, Morgan Shepherd. Had these great finishes of recent. 2nd in 92, 7th in 93, 5th in 94. And here's Mark Martin at the controls of that Jack Roush car, staying 6th and trying to close it up. A couple of Fords working. Here's Mike Joy.
Well, Richard Childress has been watching the same picture you have up in the upstairs. And Richard, you don't look too pleased. You folks didn't have a chance to run against the 4 car on Thursday. Can you run with him today?
Well, right now he's awful strong. You know, we're a little bit loose now. We had our car a little tight, and we're just going to have to keep working with it. He's strong, though. You know, we're going to do our best, you know, finish it up.
Sterling's right on the bottom, and Dale seems to be running up the track a little bit. What can you do on the pit stop to change that?
Well, we'll work with our air pressures and maybe do a little wedge, a little aero work.
Okay. Wish this picture was a little better, huh?
Yeah, we'll be. I mean, we're better now than we were, so we're just going to have to work on it a little more.
Well, the picture that he wants to see is with his car out front.
The picture right now is Dale Jarrett closing in on that front pair.
Well, he did for 2 or 3 laps, and then the last lap he lost some, Ken. Here's a battle as Mark Martin and Ted Musgrave go by Morgan Shepherd for the 5th position. Martin moves into 5th. The 16 car of Ted Musgrave moves into 6th. Morgan Shepherd drops back to 7th.
And just behind them, you see the lap car of Elliott, but running in the spot. Since his unscheduled pit stop on lap 111, Elliott has passed the cars running 8th through 16th, but he is a lap down. He is 1 lap down, back in 30th position. You see him right in there, staying with the hunt. We'll take a break and be back with more of the action. We're at lap 126 in the Daytona 500. leaders about to put a lap on Davy Jones, and I believe Ben Hess in there as well. The leaders, Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt. Marlin trying to win it back-to-back. Earnhardt in his 17th effort trying to win the Daytona 500 for the first time. And that interval spreads out a little as they came off that corner. And again, that's Earnhardt trying that high line as he comes down into the back straightaway. Check in with Dick Trickle here in car number 15, running in 15th position at this point. There's his telemetry.
That's 65, 6,600 RPMs, gets up to 67, 191 miles an hour going into turn 3. Of course, you can see it slows down as he comes off the turn. It's going pretty good, about 192, 93, 95 miles an hour going down into turn 1.
Just in front of him, Rusty Wallace running that 14th position. Not having as much, but it looks like we've got a car that stopped out here in turn 4. One down to the bottom of the track. It's 71. That would be
Marcus, and caution is out.
Dave Marcus's car lying on the bottom of the track in turn 4. It eased around. They may have brushed the wall. Car number 71. Lap 131. That will mark us for the 8th caution of the day. More from Daytona after this. They come in all sizes for the 500. There's the sweetie out here enjoying the race. Great replay from pit road. A little bit of fun out here as we watch the field getting ready to go again. Terry Labonte's car number 5. Whoops.
Bounced right up into Jeff Gordon's car and bounced right back into the hands of one of the crew members.
Here's David Hobbs.
It's been so good at the front of the pack and back in the middle of the pack.
I'm with Dave Marcus in the pit lane. What happened there, Dave? You were running so good.
David, I could basically run the car up high or down low. The car was good. The longer the runs were, the better it seemed to be. I decided to run a few laps low. I heard a big boom underneath the car. I ran over some debris or something. Must have punctured the right front. The car just went straight up into the wall.
Tell us a bit about this Prodigy Service sponsorship that you've got. What you're doing for the lost children.
We have the Olive Garden restaurant with us this year. Prodigy Service, STG Corporation, Terramite Construction. So we've got our 95 season in real good shape, and we're looking forward to it. It's just too bad that something like this has to happen, but I guess that's racing.
It's good to see someone from Wisconsin doing so well. Ken?
Yeah, I would like to have seen him have a really good day. Dave Marcus, who's put a lot of years in grade out here. Richard, you had some pretty good struggles with him back a few years. Remember Richmond, Virginia?
Dave was running good with his own car, but he used to run the K&K insurance car and stuff, and he ran it for a couple of years. And really ran good with it. And then I think they sold the team out from under him, and instead of messing with that kind of stuff, he just went on back to his own team. But he's been a strong competitor all his life, and I tell you, he's so competitive. He does this stuff a lot of times without the money, and he just makes it work. He's just a hard-working man.
Here's Dick Bergman. Let's try again and see if we can find Dick Bergman down on pit road. Well, we'll go to Mike Joy.
Find somebody.
Tony Glover, who's the crew chief for Sterling Marlin, is pitted way down toward turn 1. He just did the 200-yard dash up to talk to Andy Petrie, crew chief for Dale Earnhardt. Were they making a hook-up-and-go deal? We couldn't get close enough to listen in. But that could be the strategy to see if those two Chevys can break away. Now, there's 65 laps to go in this race. When this caution ends, if one car comes in and gets a splash of gas, and that just might be the 17 of Darrell Waltrip, he might try to stretch it all the way. But talking to engine builders this week and car owners along pit road just now, nobody's really willing to take that gamble, I don't think. That's a long way on one fuel. 60 laps, fine. 65 laps, I don't think so.
It is a long way. And look at Bill Elliott here, Ned. Right back up there, about to try and get his lap back.
Yeah, he's in position there. If he could just get out in front of Sterling Marlin and then catch another caution, he would be okay. Of course, Bill Elliott lost his lap. If you just tuned in, he lost his lap when he had a right rear tire go flat, had to make a green flag pit stop, got a lap down. Right now, he's racing Sterling Marlin into turn 1.
Forward against Chevy.
I tell you what,
trying to keep him covered.
Well, Bill's been back there sort of running in the group anyway, but you're going to find out right now whether he's got anything for these boys or not, because he's got to do it right now to get that lap back.
Dale Jarrett giving us these pictures as we look this scramble over up in front. It's a big freight train that's coming up and beginning to overhaul Bill Elliott as you see Sterling Marlin sprint out in front. Coming off the corner. Earnhardt staying in second, Schrader in third. Bill trying to hold his own down on the inside.
Yeah, but he has no help down there. It's going to be tough to pull up alongside those cars that are running in the first 5 positions if he doesn't have help down on the inside.
Jeff Gordon sorted out, staying up there with that field. Ready to launch another attack up toward the front as Sterling Marlin stays first. Now here's David Hobbs.
Well, the tire drama down here continues because Dave Marcus has all these sets of tires here, and he has one set of stickers. Les Richter from NASCAR's here, Leo Mel from Goodyear's here. They wanted to take these 2 tires, these sticker tires, a whole set, down to the number 2 car of Rusty Wallace. The tire man on Dave Marcus's crew's been sitting on these tires. He won't let them take them away until he knows whether Dave Marcus is going to get back in the race. So we've got a bit of a Mexican standoff here over these tires.
Little pit road drama, folks. Take a look at the running order right now with 137 laps complete. Marlin first, Earnhardt right there in that second spot, followed by Schrader. You're seeing Dale Earnhardt stay right on the rear bumper of Sterling Marlin. Earnhardt has said, if I don't win this race, I'll start to be known as the Buffalo Bills of NASCAR. Nobody remembers who finishes second, unless it's them or me in the Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon sorting out. See right in front of him, Bobby Labonte. Just on the end of the top 10 there, Ned.
And any of those cars are still in position. Any of those running in the first 15 or so positions to win this race.
If they get in the right situation, you're right.
Well, look at Kyle down on the inside. Just motored by a couple of cars down on the inside.
Get that right draft, you can go, buddy.
Yep.
Just staying above it all. Marlin, Earnhardt, and Schrader. The rest of them have to frisk around out there. These guys just run in a solid straight line, one behind the other, waiting this race out. 60 laps remain in the 1995 Daytona 500. Earnhardt still looking for that first win in this race. 26 wins here at Daytona. IROC, the 125-mile qualifiers, the Busch Clash. Name it, the 300. Until he retired this year, he was the dominant force there. But this one eludes him.
He's taken a little different role today than what we normally see him. Now, whether that's by choice or whether that's the way things are. Normally he's leading and dominating, leading more laps than anybody else. But he has led some laps, but sitting right there in second, seems to be content to do that today. But he might not be able to do anything else. I don't know.
Well, it might be that way, but he might be trying a different approach. He's tried the other and it didn't work. Maybe he's going to try something different today.
Looking further back, Jeff Bodine down there in that 11 car, struggling after an incident early in the going.
That's Brett Bodine in the 11 car.
I beg your pardon. It is Brett Bodine beside Bobby Hamilton in the 43.
And Ricky Craven coming by in the car number 41. He's still on the lead lap.
23rd position. Bobby Hamilton just in front of him. From bumper cam behind the leader. Looking out from Sterling Marlin. And that's what it looks like as you look back to that second place car. Earnhardt closes it right up, Richard.
He just comes right on down in there with him. And he's running low now. Right now, he's been running high, but he's running the low groove now with the 4-car. But the 4-car seems to really get through the corner good.
With more on that tire story from pit road, here's David Hobbs.
Well, I'm with Dave Marcus, who looks pretty jolly hot, came rushing up to his pit, grabbed his tire and shot off with it, and we followed you, and you ended up in Dale Earnhardt's pit.
Well, David, Richard Childress has an engine in my car. His people help me work on my car. I test for Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt. I promised them that if I had problems in the race, they had my tires. They are my tires. I mounted them this morning. I will give them to who I choose.
Well, there you have it, straight from Dave Marcus. The tires were supposed to go to Rusty Wallace's number 2 car, and Dave Marcus wanted him to go to his friend and helper, Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt.
Well, he's also Earnhart's helper.
I mean, they help me. It's one of their engines in my car. I may not have been in the Daytona 500 if it wasn't for Richard Childress.
There you have it, Ken.
Got to appreciate that loyalty.
Yep. And not only that, but since the demise of Neil Bonnet, since his passing, Dave Marcus has turned to more and more to do testing for that car number 3. He's put a lot of hours on that car. From the blimp, past the stands. They're the leaders. So has Earnhardt got any more to show us this afternoon, Richard, or is this Runt Pittman motor and that car number 4 just going to run off and win it 2 years?
I'll tell you what, we still got a lot of running to do. They've got to make that last pit stop, and then wherever they all come out in what positions they have. Right now, it's hard to say. I mean, you see him, it look like it. He gets away from him one lap, and he catches up with him the next lap. I don't think they even know. They're just out there running, doing the best they can.
$3 million on the entry blank. You think Schrader is just waiting this one out, Ned?
Schrader has run a very smart race. He said during the rain delay that he was just hanging in there, trying to stay up front, trying to stay in the first 3 or 4 positions, and then fight it out at the end. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. Whether he has more or not, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Watch him run. That's the way he runs most all the races. He just runs, and he wants to be with the race and stay in there. And then when it does come down, he can get the job done.
The Fords of Martin and Jarrett riding 4th and 5th. They're closing in on those 3 Chevys up in front. Heading down toward decision time for the 1995 Daytona 500. Today's overhead shots are courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, Florida. At the controls, Captain Drew Marshall from Fort Lauderdale. Had a little time getting it up in the air today with the aeronautics folks, giving us some good pictures as we come down the back straightaway. They're ready to go at it for 3rd spot.
Mark Martin on the inside of Ken Schrader. Bobby Labonte has pulled up on the outside of Dale Jarrett.
And Dale Jarrett's coming right with Mark Martin as those 2 Fords lock up, come to the bottom of the racetrack, and go searching for those leaders. Here comes Musgrave. Coming down out of the trial. Look at the lights on out there. Looks like the 24 hours of Daytona, huh?
Well, it almost seems that way since we started, but it really isn't.
It's not quite that dark, folks, but it's getting along in the day here in Florida.
Kind of shady anyway, isn't it?
Cloudy and overcast all day, and all kinds of cautions in this race. An hour and a half plus delay because of a couple of showers that came through. A chance to talk to some of the race fans around the country this afternoon. That was fun, Richard. Now we're getting some real fun.
Mark Martin running over 190 miles an hour. We saw that telemetry on his car. He's running in 3rd place.
And Dale Jarrett right with him into 4th. Schrader back to 5th.
Well, they're about
side by side again.
I don't know which is that way. I think Schrader's taking back over the 4th place now. Jarrett has no help. He's down on the inside. Got caught down there, and the train's going to go by him here.
Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Musgrave up on the outside. And they hang Jarrett out to dry. They hang him inside to dry, and that bottom lane.
Hang him by himself anyway, right?
Look at Jarrett. As you take a look at these live pictures out of turn 2 and down that back straightaway by Tiny Lund Grandstand.
Now he gets back in line behind Jeff Gordon.
That was a big fall. Running so well. Now he tucks back in 9th spot.
Yeah, he's been 7th spot.
Let's check further back in the field for a moment on some of the rest. This is such a grand battle up in front. There you see Morgan Shepherd. Looks like Robert Presley's 33 right there with him. Here's Dick Berggren on pit road.
Well, Ken Howes is crew chief for Kenny Schrader, and all day long your car has been running up front, not exactly in the lead, but up front. You got anything for that number 4, Sterling Marlin?
I wish we had. He's really strong. 3 cars strong, but I'm hoping that Budweiser car will just hang around in there. And really, it's going to come down to the last few laps. And if we can be in that pile right then, who knows?
A lot of conversation over the winter about your driver. He's had some health problems. How is he feeling in the car now?
Right now, he's fine. He's complaining that he's a little hot, but that's normal. He's doing very well.
Yeah. Ken?
Well, he's got his hands full. Here's Labonte swinging to the inside, and here comes Jarrett one floor lower as they go on that 5-level 31-degree banking.
Boy, Jarrett got a run through the tri-oval here. He was running in 7th place, trying to take over 4th right now.
And he swept right through the bottom and into that position.
His car is working good now between turns 1 and 2. Now he has Schrader on his bumper.
In 5th, Gordon to 6th. Here comes Musgrave. What a day Musgrave's having in 7th. See Jeff Gordon taking that high line right behind Schrader.
I tell you, I don't know. I hadn't seen a race in a long time where there's been this much racing going on.
Yeah, but not so much for the lead, but
no, everywhere. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. The leaders hadn't changed, but Betty, from 3rd or 4th on back, these people did different positions every time they come by here.
Still 28 cars in the lead lap. Marlin there, Earnhardt and Martin, the top 3. Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, the weather's going to play a factor again here. When the rain stopped, it was pretty warm. Shirt sleeve weather. Nobody running for raincoats or sweaters. It's dropped about 15 degrees in the last 20 to 25 minutes. Cooler air means more horsepower for these race cars, but who knows how they were jetted for what kind of day. We've seen just about everything all up and down the temperature and humidity scale today, but no rain on the horizon. That's good news.
And what about the handle on these cars?
I think it'll have as much to do with that as anything else. We've talked to a number of the drivers during the rain delay, and they were talking about how much tighter the racetrack is today because of the overcast skies and the cooler temperatures. It had been in the low 80s here for the last several days, high 70s and low 80s, and they were setting those cars up hoping they would be hot again here today, and that's why many of them said they had a pushing situation. But they did a lot of talking during that rain delay and now have made adjustments on the cars, or at least many of them have.
Well, here's Mark Martin, who continues to claw away, trying to climb back up with Earnhardt and Marlin. Very slow race. Remember the race record 177 back in 80 by Baker, 133, slowed by a total of 8 cautions to date, plus a red flag period for rain. Earnhardt stays right there in 2nd. Does he have any more to give? He'll have to start giving it very, very shortly. We're getting down toward the close of this one. 155 complete. Top 5 just stay there and hang on to each other, waiting for this finish. They'd like to go just a tickle faster and get away from the rest of them, but there's no way they can do that. They've been overhauled, and it really is 10-11 car battle up there in front for the lead. In basketball at the half, low-scoring affair. Michigan 25. It's leading by a slim margin. And that's the same story here.
That's right. Only we're a little bit further than halfway here. We're getting right down to the nitty-gritty here before long.
Basketball coming up immediately following this. Over an hour and 40 minutes where we were delayed. Back in green flag racing, and take a look at Schrader up on the outside in that pit spot. Jeff Gordon in 6th, right with him. Bobby Labonte in 7th, looking a little further back. Musgrave in 8th. Trouble in turn 2. See some smoke out there.
Caution is out.
Caution is out. We've got 22 LaJoie in trouble, and we've got Bobby Hamilton sliding down pit road in car number 43 into the grass. Car number 2, Rusty Wallace, is in trouble in the wall. And Rusty Wallace's car comes to a stop directly beneath us. Hamilton's car off the 4th turn, looped it, slid down pit road, and then into the grass. But whatever began this was over on the 2nd turn with car number 22, Randy LaJoie. That's where we first saw smoke. Saw a car spinning. Now, there is the Wallace car up against the wall here in the tri-oval.
And you wonder if someone might have slowed they saw the caution lights come on. They might have
pushed him
took
out of
their
line.
foot off the accelerator, and maybe that's what caused this situation on the front straightaway here.
Remember, Wallace had backed up out of those leaders a while ago. Hamilton was running back in the, they had it as the 21st position. He had been up a little higher, around 16th. Let's get a replay, and I think we'll see Hamilton and Wallace here. They're coming back. This is off 4.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, what happened, well, now I'm gonna call this the way I seen it. Bobby's been running high, and he was up against the wall, and the 2-car come out on him. Looked like a David Pearson, Richard Petty deal there.
Yeah, 1976 all over again, huh? Here's the end of it.
Now, Randy LaJoy lost his windshield over in the deal that he had over off turn 2. Wow, it's right down his lap. What's left of it.
Not a good day for Norwalk, Connecticut's Randy
In fact, his
LaJoy.
windshield was gone. That was part of the cowl.
Yeah.
The dash. So they put that down, slip another windshield in there.
All of this happening at lap 159. They're finishing 160 at the present time.
They'll make pit stops now, Ken. They'll be able to go the rest of the way now.
Now they're going to go for it now.
Yep.
From now on is how you do is the way you're going to finish. Hopefully, if they don't have any more cautions.
Disappointed Rusty Wallace out of his car. Really don't believe he saw Hamilton up on the outside at all. Back into pits for the final time. They can run home to the checkers from here. Here's Mike Joy.
Dale Earnhardt gets a cold drink. Andy Petrie changes the right front. Rick Beers the right rear. Gene Dehart has the left side, lugs off the left front. He's working at the left rear to remove the tire as Petrie comes around to help. Danny Myers has the second can of gas in. Wayne Lehman on the catch can. Away goes Earnhardt. No chassis change. Here's Dick Berggren.
And Sterling Marlin is still in the pits. They're waving him out. They want him to beat Earnhardt if at all possible. Earnhardt, the 4-car in a big battle down pit road.
Earnhardt is back on. Mark Martin is back out. They line up for this restart that will be so important. Track position key here. Rusty Wallace's car. 4th straight year that he has crashed out of this race. Bad day for Wallace. CBS Sports coverage of the Daytona 500 continues after this message and a word from your local station. Darrell Waltrip's number 17 having such a great day. Looks like it may have ended here in lap 162.
He's behind the wall, perhaps with a gearing problem, Ken.
Yeah, I don't know. He had a real slow pit stop. He got out real slow on the pit stop deal, and then he come back in. So they just down there working on it. I don't know what happened either. They got some kind of problem when they put 4 of them on the stand, I'll tell you.
Look again at what brought out this latest flag.
Okay.
Actually, this was after the first incident.
Okay, we're here is Rusty Wallace down on the inside and Bobby Hamilton on the outside coming off of turn 4. Now we'll move them forward and see what happens. And Wallace gets up into Bobby, but it looked like Bobby's the back end of his car might have caught the wall a little bit coming off of turn 4.
Well, like you said, but he was coming down for the caution. You don't know if maybe the 2 cars seen the caution. All he had to do was just slip.
Yep.
So if you get so close in there, it's really hard to tell.
Talk about rush hour traffic. Here's how it looks at Daytona when track position is at stake for the final laps of the Daytona 500. There's Earnhardt breaking out. There you see Martin coming out. Whoa. Sterling Marlin giving it his best. Bobby Labonte making a stab at it, but Earnhardt was there. And there is Mark Martin ready to go back to work another time. As they line up, he'll be 3rd on this restart. Can we talk to Mark Martin? Mark, are you there? Hello, Mark.
Hey, I can hear you.
Hey, Mark.
Mark, this is CBS. Do you hear us?
I can hear you.
I don't think
pretty quiet out of it. All right.
Turn it up.
Got it now. Fine. Thank you.
How's it going? Mark, can you do it?
Mark, Ned Jarrett wants to know how it's going out there. You got enough to handle these guys?
You're about to blow my head off. I need you to just let me go here. We're fixing to go back to green.
A little trouble with the audio there, so we'll leave him alone. He wants to go after these guys, and let's hope that he gets out there and does exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah, he's got a job to do.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
Darrell Waltrip talking with Clyde Booth, the team manager, as they work under the car. Darrell, what's the matter?
Mike, when I got ready to leave the pit lane there, the thing blew the transmission up. They dropped the jack, and I popped the clutch, and the transmission just flew all to pieces. It's a set. I hate it because we were running really good, and I think I'd have been up there. I'd been back and forth all day, but I think I could have got up there at the end when it counted.
Are there enough laps left to get back in there?
Well, we may, but changing a gearbox is a pretty major project on one of these Winston Cup cars. So I'd like to say hello to my father-in-law and everybody, Carolyn and Carol, and all back in Franklin.
Crew once changed an engine for him in 13 minutes. That's no longer allowed, but if there's any way to get Waltrip back out for Winston Cup points, they'll do it.
Mike Pace car has come in, and we're ready to go racing once again. Bill Elliott down to the inside trying to make up a lap.
And now we'll know if Earnhardt had anything left when he was running along in second place behind Sterling Marlin.
164 complete of 200 to be run.
Bill Elliott still would like to get back out front. He knows that with these cars running that close, that there's subject to be another caution flag, and if he can do that and get back in the lead lap, it would be really good for him.
410 miles in the books as you see Earnhardt, Marlin, and Martin fixing to put Bill Elliott a lap down if possible. This report from David Hobbs.
In the pits with Rusty Wallace, who's looking pretty hot under the car at the moment. Rusty, what happened out there?
We're going into turn 3, come off my spotter hollers at the caution. I'm right on the bottom of the racetrack. I'm on the bottom, starting to come up. 43 never lifts, caution flags waving, just pinching me. As I'm coming up, he's on the outside accelerating, and just had a hell of a wreck again, you know. It's so aggravating. Every year I come here, they just never will quit. They just keep wrecking. They just keep wrecking, you know. Yeah. Darrell Waltrip is probably one of the best out here using his head, and him and I were doing a good job today, logging laps, getting everything done. And these new guys just are so rambunctious, they won't slow down. It's just, I'm going to quit talking right now before I say something I need to say. It's driving me nuts.
Well, your luck here is not very good. 4 out of the last 5 years in race.
No, my luck's not very good. It's because of the style of racing we got. Everywhere else I go, I win all the races, lead all the laps, do everything. And it's always a come from behind deal. I'm just tired of coming from behind. Every time I leave here, it's a big pile of metal, you know. It's just doing all I can do. Thank you.
Well, better luck next time, Ken. A very upset Rusty Wallace.
And they are scrambling on the racetrack. 3 deep coming through the trial. We'll hear Bill Elliott in the middle of Kyle Petty and Ricky Rudd. Elliott's a lap down. Don't want to be in that position, but there's not anything he can do about it.
Yeah, he's dropped out, trying to get that lap back. Not a chance. Still 3 deep. Coming around the 31-degree west end of the speedway, falling further back. Dale Jarrett, meanwhile, continues his assault, trying to get back up in here again. Back straightaway. Earnhardt is first, Marlin second, Martin third, Bobby Labonte, and Dale Jarrett. What a show.
Bobby Labonte had a great pit stop, got up to 4th place. Jarrett lost a couple of positions on that pit stop. We're looking out the window of Dick Trickle's car.
And there's late speed.
Oh, there goes that 43. Good. He's still in there digging, ain't he?
Yep.
All right.
Staying right
Come on,
up.
Bobby, catch up there, buddy.
And Dick Trickle comes down on the inside of him. Wheel to wheel down here through the tri-oval another time. 195, they pick the pace up a little. It's getting cooler, and they're getting a little stronger. Yep. Hamilton pulls away from Trickle right there.
If you got anything left, now's the time to show it. No more pit stops.
That's right. Every position makes a difference now because it puts you in a different position next lap.
Back in 18th. Back up front. Earnhardt, Marlin, Martin. Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Ken Schrader, Morgan Shepherd.
They're getting on with it now, folks.
Let's go back to the pits. This report from Dick Berggren.
Sterling Marlin's crew has just radioed to their driver. They've told him, you run a great race. Just take it easy. Hang in there. If you can do that until 5 to go, we guarantee you will win the race. Take it easy? I don't know if he can do that.
Well, they're staying just in line, waiting it out to go for a finish. And what a finish this can be. Look at these cars all grouped together. getting ready to decide this 500.
There's still 24 cars being shown in the lead lap.
Last car in that lead lap, Jeff Bodine, Rick Mass, 23rd. Hamilton now being shown 22nd. Michael Waltrip, 21st. 20th, Rutland, 19th, Trickle, 18th Speed as they shuffle around out back.
191.4, 9 miles per hour the last lap.
Ricky Craven is now in the 16th spot. Grissom in 15th. Presley in 14th. Kyle, he's fallen back to 13th here. Terry Labonte lies 12th. Musgrave is running in 11th. And there is Kyle Petty's number 42 Pontiac back there in 13th spot. And he's just moved around the Terry Labonte number 5. He's taken over 12th position.
And they got 2 cars right there in front of them.
They're in side to side. There's no place to go, right?
Ward Burton on the outside in car number 31. Ted Musgrave on the car number 16 on the inside. Now Kyle's going to follow Musgrave, try to push him on by Burton. Up front, they're still single file.
Just waiting this one out. Mike Joy.
30 laps to go, and they're running laps right on 47 seconds for Dale Earnhardt last time by. Sterling Marlin's going to need all they promised him and then some to run quicker than that and get by Earnhardt.
Ward Burton has backed up considerably. He had moved up on that restart. Now he has shuffled back. Ricky Rudd's been quiet all day. Now he has snuck up into the 9th position. Number 10, Ricky Rudd to 9th. The lap's 170. 30 to go.
8 cars in the lead trap, sort of pulled away from Ricky Rudd, who is in the 9th position.
Earnhardt has come so close so many times, right down to the last lap, the last turn, and had this race slither away from him. He's in control at this moment. Driven the perfect race, stayed back, waited, patient, let the other people go up and run hard. Now he's in there, thrusting that number 3 into the lead and trying to keep it there. Sterling Marlin, who a year ago, after years and years of second place finishes and discontent, found himself victorious. Again, Earnhardt having some problems. He's right there trying to scoop it up as Mark Martin in that Ford breaks up the Chevy running in front. It's Chevy first and second. Mark is running third. Then the Chevrolet of Bobby Labonte in fourth. The 5th spot is the Ford of Dale Jarrett. And in 6th, that's that Schrader Chevrolet. Morgan Shepherd 7th in a Ford.
And they've lost Jeff Gordon. He has lost the draft of that 8th it was. Now it's just 7 cars there. Jeff Gordon begins to fall back a little bit.
You still got 24 cars in the same lap.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Great racing.
They're still running, and nobody's counted out yet, because all they got to do is make one mistake up front, like we're seeing Saturday, and the whole game's over again.
They say that a push is developing on the 24 car, and it's costing him dearly. I had a report about a left front fender rubbing on that car a little while ago, Ned.
Yeah, he's definitely has lost the draft of those 7 cars that are running in front of him. Of course, that 24 car is Jeff Gordon. There are the 7 that are running up front. Sterling Marlin sitting there right behind Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt sitting there. Is that the car? Does he have more or does he not? But they're running some of the fastest laps right now that they've run all day in competition. So they're running faster than they were when Sterling was leading them.
Right.
Yes. Dick Berggren.
Ray Evernham, what's happened to it?
I mean, work all winter, give a race away in the pits when you got the best car. I mean, I guess that's all it's about happening. You know, we gave it away.
What's happened to the car, though, Ray? What's it doing to it?
Well, it's about got the body ripped off the left side, and he rubbed the right side on the wall, so aerodynamically it's pretty well messed up.
So much for the wind tunnel.
Back to the drawing board.
Out here in its own wind tunnel right now. And not getting along with it too well after it's been hit left and right. So now there are 175 laps complete when they come by this time. 25 to go. Back at Daytona, 63 wins for Earnhardt. But the 64 question is to be answered right now. Will it be at Daytona? Here you see the Jeff Gordon car that has fallen back a bit, in trouble. Here are the leaders. Earnhardt, followed by Marlin, and still Mark Martin hanging tough with Bobby Labonte. Basketball in the second half. Michigan's in front of Indiana, 29-22. Back straight away, Daytona, lap 179.
Earnhardt, Marlin, Martin, Labonte. That's Bobby Labonte. And in fifth place is Ken Schrader.
Morgan Shepherd and Dale Jarrett just behind them in 6th and 7th.
They have been racing back there with the
24.
And Jeff Gordon does have a problem. He's off the pace.
He's coming in. Jeff Gordon eases it down. A gray day for the Rainbow Warriors. Tire down on car number 24. Rub through it. You're riding with him down pit road and out of any hope in this Daytona 500. Maybe another caution might have put him back up. Now it doesn't matter. Back with the leaders. Earnhardt in front. Marlin sneaks a peek on the outside. Pesky Sterling Marlin holding on to Dale Earnhardt in the final laps.
And now Dale Jarrett and Ted Musgrave have hooked up. Once they got around Morgan Shepherd, they have really been mowing the leaders down.
They come up really quick.
Dale Jarrett right up on the back of Ken Schrader. Looks like we're going to have another Daytona 500 finish for Earnhardt. Think of a way to lose a race. It's happened to him here. He's won everywhere, 7 championships. But here, look at him going high and wide. Gordon out there again, easing down the back straightaway. Here comes Sterling Marlin to the inside.
Mark Martin wants to follow him. Does he have enough momentum? He pulls on the inside of Earnhardt. He's going to make the pass.
Got it. Got it. Pulled it right through. And Martin stayed back. Didn't come with him. Back they come to the line. Sterling Marlin now the leader. It's Earnhardt to second. Bobby Labonte running side by side with Mark Martin on the inside. Bobby Labonte up on the high side.
Well, Dale Jarrett moved around the car number 25 of Ken Schrader. Gets up on the back bumper of Mark Martin. Trying to get into 4th place.
Can it happen to Earnhardt again? 17 years he's tried to win the 500. So close so many times. And have it snatched away in the final moments. 1984 on gas mileage. Now look at this battle for 3rd. Here's Dale Jarrett sweeping down to the inside. Scooping up 3rd place for Mark Martin. Bobby Labonte falls to 4th.
Mark Martin falls to 4th. Bobby Labonte falls to 5th.
And Schrader to 6th. Musgrave up on the inside under Schrader.
Now Jarrett trying to make a move on Dale Earnhardt down on the inside. Earnhardt's high, Jarrett's low.
Jarrett's coming on fast the last couple of laps.
Makes the pass.
It's back to how it began. Ford Chevy battle, Ned.
Yep.
But the Chevy that was up in the front row is now relegated to 3rd. There you see Martin and then Bobby Labonte. Musgrave. What a race he's having today in the 16 car.
He has driven a great race. Right on the back bumper of his teammate. Jack Ralph owns both of those cars. Car number 6 and the car number 16.
Dale Jarrett coming after Sterling Marlin. Take a look at that telemetry.
Moving goes RPMs up close to 7,000 going into the turn. Over 190 miles an hour. But Marlin appears to be pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, he did that lap, that's for sure.
He sure did. Here comes Mark Martin around Dale Earnhardt.
Maybe he can get locked up with the 28 car and go back searching. And Earnhardt willing to let him do that. Right in the straight line. And look at the 24 come back on the outside.
But he's a lap down. Yeah. He could be a player in this whole thing, though. With those new tires, he might could get up there and help the Chevrolets. The two forwards of Martin, well, you actually have three because Ted Musgrave, well, Ted's about to get out of the situation there, but you got Jarrett and Martin running second and third, trying to hook up.
Seems so strange to see them under the lights here at Daytona, Ned. Almost looks like Charlotte on Memorial Day.
Yes, it is strange.
Remember when Dale Jarrett won this race? Look at Mark Martin coming on now.
Making the pass on Jarrett. Got a good run off of him off of turn 2, and he's making the pass. Earnhardt, he's going to try it too down on the inside. It's time to go racing. Here comes Gordon up on the outside. He's the one that has the new tires.
But Sterling Marlin is pulling away. When Dale Jarrett won in '93, he led only 8 laps. Now he's pushed back again. The motor in Sterling Marlin's car. We saw it, those loud blown engine going into turn 2, and somebody's up in the wall hard. It's Bobby Labonte.
Oh, a tough break. He runs such a great race here today.
Bobby Labonte falls to the inside. Caution coming out as they race back to the line. Coming around a complete 186.
Now this makes a whole new race out of it.
It'll be a sprint to the finish. Caution is coming out. Down to the line, yellow is out. It'll bring them all together. 23 cars in the lead lap to decide the 500. Take a look at what happened to Bobby Labonte.
Here he is up on the outside. It looks like the car gets loose, maybe a tire going down. That's the way it looked, as if a tire was going down. The car got out from under him, up into the wall. Everybody else gets by down on the inside. But a tough break for Bobby Labonte in his first ride with the Joe Gibbs team. And he was doing them well until this situation.
Another angle.
Here he is up on the outside. You see him go into the turn. Everything looks fine. Then all of a sudden, the back end starts coming around.
It looked like he went in. It started to get a little bit sideways. About that time, it made a right-hand turn, and then he really had to turn left.
Okay, we'll watch it again as he goes into the turn. There's the back end, starts to go out. Then, yeah, you're right, Richard.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, he steers.
Then he corrects. He tries to correct it, and then when you do, you overcorrect, and then you take it off.
And his brother almost hit him. That was Terry Labonte down on the inside. Almost got into it. Now, do they pit? Yeah, I think they do. 14 laps to go. We'll see.
Bobby Labonte, second start in the 500, ends here in the second turn.
What makes it tough here is if you're up front, do you pit? If you're in the back, you know you pit.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Good point. So we'll see.
Well, they're working the radios right now. The field is coming by, and let's see who decides to pit and who's going to.
Well, Marlin is not going to. Dale Earnhardt is going to. Isn't it? Yes, Dale Earnhardt comes down pit road.
In.
Wow.
Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, I think they'll make 2 changes on this car to speed it up. Owner Richard Childress will tape over the nose to let less air through the radiator and more up and over the top of the car. There goes the tape up over that inlet. I thought they might knock down the rear spoiler too just a bit to take out a little stability but add some speed. There's a wheel mark on the left side of this car where Earnhardt's gotten gently against somebody, but as the 4 new tires go on, those are Dave Marcus's tires, Earnhardt goes back into the fray.
Craven, Michael Waltrip, Hamilton, Grissom, also on pit road, Bodine, Loy Allen, and Rick Mast.
Dale Earnhardt, as he goes out of the pits, they feel that's his only shot at winning this race. They figured the way he was running right then, he was not going to be able to win the race. Right. He was going to maybe get a top 5 finish. They want to win it. They're throwing the dice.
Well, they're going to go for it. That's all
they're going for it.
When you go for a big race, the first race of the year, you got to go for it.
Yep.
And they get behind here, they got all year to catch up, but you got to go for it.
Well, he figures he'll at least get back maybe to a top 10 unless something goes wrong, even though there are 22 cars in the lead lap now. But he's got a good chance to get back to the top 10. He could have finished the top 5.
He's going to get way on up in there because what happened, those boys are not going to be able to run wide open.
Yeah,
and he's going to be able to run wide open.
Okay, he's going to be 15th. He's not going to be at the tail end. Right. So yeah, you're right. So.
Look at Earnhardt again, overtaking to put himself into this first position, which he Now sustains. This is the move that put him there. Replay from a few laps ago. Sterling Marlin. Put Sterling Marlin into first place.
Picked that draft up and just motored right on by. And right there is when Dale Earnhardt knew he wasn't going to win the race under the circumstances the way they were.
And from this angle, outside, inside.
And when Sterling made he's done made his commitment. So Earnhardt knew what that commitment was.
There will be 11 laps to go when they come back. Green flag scheduled to go.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Tony Glover, Earnhardt has brand new tires. Yours are worn. Can you still beat him?
Well, I don't know. You know, we were in a no-win situation. I feel like if we had have pitted, he wouldn't have pitted, and we'd have been at the rear in his position. So, you know, we got 10 laps to go. We've had a heck of a week down here already, and you know, whatever happens will just happen, and let's make the best of it.
You've been talking with Ray Evernham. Are you and Gordon going to hook up together in a draft?
Well, our two cars have worked awfully well today together, and you know, hopefully they could be a lot of benefit to us.
Okay, we'll see which strategy works.
33 car. Presley just spun out.
Well, let's see. Will that bring the caution? No, he's coming on around, so maybe it won't bring the caution back out, because the lesser number of laps they have, the more it's going to hurt Earnhardt. He needs as many laps as he can to try to get back up through the pack. Robert Presley, one of the rookies this year, replaced Harry Gant in this Leo Jackson car number 33.
And had been running 14th. Let's take a look at what happened here to Robert Presley in his first performance in the car Gant drove a year ago.
Wow, he was just, a car down inside got up into
Trickle.
15. Dick Trickle came from way down low up into Robert Presley, hit him, knocked him right up into the wall.
Yeah. I don't know what that was all about.
I don't know.
You know, Jeff Gordon could be a player here, folks, before this one's over. Remember, he'll be trying to make that lap up. Look at Presley's number. That was the car in 14th. Now, that is a heartbreaker. But, you know, he has that same attitude, so much of it, of Harry Gant. It's another day. I imagine he's a lot younger, but you know how Harry was when something like that happened. He'd walk away from it. Robert Presley, been around racing all of his life. Dad was a great racer. For that matter, this guy that you were just talking to down there, or listening to, Tony Glover, that crew chief. He was a crew chief, and he was 13 years old for his dad, Gene Glover.
Yep, his dad was a real racer, won what is now the Busch Grand National Championship a number of years ago. And now Gordon falls right in behind Sterling Marlin. Those two Chevrolets hook up together. I'm afraid that's going to do it for the
last 11 laps. And look at Earnhardt here trying to gather up some speed. Now he gets it through the gears, and he's underneath Ricky Rudd back there in car number 10. I believe that is the 10th spot. 10 laps to go when they come by. Bill Elliott down to the inside. Not much room for Earnhardt to make a move here. A little bit of an advantage for Sterling Marlin out in front. Mark Martin is your second place car, and here comes Earnhardt.
He's mowing them off. Those new tires are helpful to him, but does he have enough time? And will he wear all the newness off of those tires and the advantage they might have before he gets to them up front?
10 laps to go as they hit the line. It's only about 700 or 800 feet up there to the front.
That doesn't seem like
Earnhardt trailing by 1 and 7.
Just a good strong 7-iron for Jack Nicklaus or something like that.
That's right. Dale Jarrett third. Musgrave with his finest performance in fourth. What a great race, Musgrave. And here comes Earnhardt, under Shepard, under Kyle Petty, moving in on Terry Labonte. Smoke coming off the back of Bill Elliott's car. Tight running, no place to go.
The 6 car got around a 24, so that puts him right back up there.
Mark Martin
right back
second.
up there.
And here comes Dale Jarrett. Remember, he led just 8 laps a year ago, or 2 years back, 93. It's 1 and 5 between first and Earnhardt. 1 and 5/10 seconds. Now they begin to draft in single file. Here's the move for Schrader. Terry Labonte stays with Earnhardt, gives him a little help. On the bottom.
Yeah, he's helping himself. He's helping Earnhardt, too. Take a look inside Earnhardt's motorhome in a moment here, and we'll see him, watch him move up through the pack. They're watching it here on CBS, just like you folks are at home. And look at that scramble back in the pack. Earnhardt's got himself free now of traffic behind him.
By himself. Needs somebody to pull out up there. Create a little turbulence, but he's closing. Dale Jarrett's motorhome.
Oh, that's Kelly, Dale's wife, on the left there. As she intently watches what's going on, a little smile comes on her face. She's a very competitive type of an individual. They said it was going inside of Dale's motorhome. I thought it was Dale Earnhardt.
Third place, Dale Jarrett. Further back, Dale Earnhardt continues his assault. Remember, the 94 car, the car of two-time champion Bill Elliott, down in this race.
And Jeff Gordon, they're each a lap down, so they're racing each other. They're up there in that pack racing each other. Here's Earnhardt moving on the outside of Musgrave. That's another position. That moves him up to fourth. He's coming, folks.
Martin Jarrett. And here to the inside comes Earnhardt.
Now Gordon won't hold him up. He'll let him go because he's a lap down.
Earnhardt is through.
And he has caught the leaders. He's there.
Does he have enough to win his first 500? 17 tries.
He just got one more.
Goes by Dale Jarrett, no problem. Watch him come up on Mark. Look at that run he has. He has momentum coming off the turn.
Here comes Martin to the outside as they begin to dice.
He wants to go in front of Earnhardt, whichever way Earnhardt's going to go. That's what Mark wants to do, which is a smart thing to do.
5 to go, this time by. Sterling Marlin gets a little bit of a breather. 2.5 car lengths. Dick Berger.
Jeff Gordon just radioed his crew and said Earnhardt has this in the bag. I'm not so sure.
Neither are 112 fans in the grandstand. Looks like an equal number in the infield here at Daytona. Sterling Marlin first, Marlin in second.
Ted Musgrave has moved up to fourth, moving around Dale Jarrett.
3 wide down there just behind them. They continue to skirmish back 6th, 7th, and 8th. There's the interval. Back to Musgrave in fourth and the rest of the field. Remember that Gordon is a lap down. Terry Labonte having a really good run today. 7 Daytona 500s have been settled by a last lap pass. Mark Martin closes in again. Earnhardt with him. Dominated this race back in 1990, led 155 laps before he finally had to settle for 5th. So many times, so close for Earnhardt. He comes to the inside.
He comes off that second corner like Jack the Bear, buddy.
Yeah, those new tires really helped him do that, and so he takes over second.
And over the motors, you can hear the throngs. In the book this time by. Defending Daytona 500 champion Marlin in front. Earnhardt in second.
But Tony summed it up right. Marlin didn't have a choice. He had to stay out there.
Yep.
I mean, there was no nothing they could do about what was going on here.
Now, will he sit there and ride and wait till the last lap?
Yeah, that's what he did. Quick as he catches him, he'll pull out. He'll do it the last lap.
Earnhardt has said, I've won this championship 7 times, but nothing bothers me more than to talk to Darrell Waltrip and have him say, yeah, but I won the Daytona 500. Looking back from Sterling Marlin in the lead. Earnhardt right there. A couple of laps to go, this time by.
Only place that really Earnhardt outruns anybody is like up off the number 2 corner up the backstretch, and of course that's where you need to run fast because you get a good draft going in and make that last deal.
Yep. Martin third, Musgrave fourth.
See how he catches him there. He can really gets that momentum up off of there.
Yep.
Then it carries you all the way down the backstretch.
And the next time around, when he gets to that position, that's when he'll make the move.
That's when he's got to do it.
Richard. Yep. Well, there you've heard the prediction, folks. Dale Jarrett's back there in 5th. Terry Labonte 6th. Michael Waltrip to 7th. Steve Grissom, what a great ride for 8th. Schrader in 9th. Morgan Shepherd in 10th. Leading rookie in the race.
Yeah, the 6th
name's Ricky Craven. White flag is coming down.
The 6th car is not close enough to really make the effect.
Craven, the leading rookie, up in 14.
This is it.
21 cars in the lead lap, and this is the final one. Draws away by about 3 car lengths. Cut it to 2. Here comes Earnhardt. The Intimidator will have to be at his intimidating best.
He's got him a running start, but it ain't going to be good enough.
I don't think it is either. He couldn't get the momentum that he needed.
Closes in, coming to 3. Sterling Marlin stays in front. Earnhardt nipping away at him here. Perched in 2nd place. Trying to lurch out there. Launch one final assault out of turn 4. Down they come, the short 1,600-foot straightaway to the finish line. And the winner of the 1995 Daytona 500 is again Sterling Marlin. Morgan McClure, 9th career win, and 3 of them have been here at Daytona. What does Earnhardt have to do to win this race?
Today you need a quicker car.
Sterling Marlin waving, going down the back straightaway to 10,000 fans perched out there enjoying the race. He led 105 laps. He led lap 200, the one that counts. Up comes Dale Jarrett to congratulate, and on the outside of him, Michael Waltrip, and the crews get ready to meet the winner this year. Sterling Marlin, 2 years in a row. First man in 10 years to do it. Back-to-back, one of what, now 4 or 5 that have won back-to-back Daytona 500s.
It's tough enough to win one, and if you get lucky enough to win 2 in a row, that's really good.
So he's headed for victory lane today in the Daytona 500, Sterling Marlin. And here's Dale Earnhardt, who gave it everything he had, and what great strategy by Richard Childress and Andy Petrie at the close.
I think that gave them a better position than they were going to get if they had not made that pit stop.
It gave him a better chance, because the 4 car had done shown that he could outrun him anytime he got ready.
Right.
And this was the only chance he had, and he wouldn't have been near that close if he'd have stayed out there and run the rest of the race.
Exactly. It was a good move on their part.
Coming in to victory lane, 2nd straight year, being congratulated by the Junior Johnson crew as he comes by, and the others coming down this pit drive to make that left-hand turn and go back to victory lane. Other crews coming out now as he moves along down. Boy, this has been a tough fight for Sterling. Had to wait an hour and 40 minutes, and now he's had to wait for a year. Pay off with a 2nd 500 victory.
Well, I think just everybody in the pit area and everything knew that this was the quickest car. Not particularly up all week long, but after they got everything ready to run the 500-mile race, he was the quickest car, and he showed it, and everybody was expecting what really happened.
You're riding with Sterling Marlin, and you're riding into the most precious piece of property there is in stock car racing, victory lane in Daytona. Here's Mike.
Sterling, they guaranteed you, if you kept your cool until 5 laps ago, they guaranteed you a win. Did you believe it?
Yeah, I did. I tell you, these guys are the greatest. And I tell you, all the boys at the back of the shop, fab shop, motor room, they done one hell of a job. And I just drove the thing, and luck went away. I tell you, everybody's done a good job, and we're sure glad to win it again.
They had to tell you Earnhardt was coming. What did you think would happen on the last lap?
Well, I saw it coming, and we wasn't coming back, or 6 cars going to win the race. I was going to block them every way I could, but our condolences go out to Mike McCarthy. His dad died last night on the Kodak team, and we really want to win it for him.
Sterling, can you believe you've done this twice in a row?
Yeah. Well, 1-2 Winston Cup races, both of them 500, so I wouldn't take nothing for it.
Okay, Sterling Marlin in victory lane. Let's go back to Ken Squire.
Cuckoo Marlin's kid from Columbia, Tennessee, Sterling Marlin. This is the way he did it, beating the best of the best, Dale Earnhardt.
He just drove his line like he had done all day long and kept his foot to the floorboard. And like he said, well, they wasn't coming back.
You know, I think you watched the whole race and everything, and I think he won the race the same way this year as he did last year. He out-handled everybody. He ran the same groove every lap, all day long. And he kept that, like you say, he kept it cool.
Top 25, folks, at the end of this 500. Certainly no speed records. Darn near a record for cautions. Hour and 40-minute wait for rain. All kinds of wrecks. Everybody walked away. And this is the third driver to win it back-to-back. Cale did it. A guy named Petty did it. And now a fellow named Sterling Marlin. And that fellow named Petty, final thought from him, please.
Well, I tell you, I think the race come out pretty well from what we all expected as far as watching the thing. It was a pretty safe race, and it was racy all the way through. You hardly ever see the people that's running 10th, 12th, and 25th racing like what they did today.
It was hard racing all the way through the packs. I think the fans, even though they had to sit here through the rain delay there for a while, they got their money's worth today. I'm glad they could see it here on CBS, too.
Thanks for being with us, Ned. Great day for Sterling Marlin and company, recording their second 500 victory, both at Daytona. For Ned Jarrett, Mike Joy, David Hobbs, Dick Berggren, and Richard Petty, Ken Squire saying so long from Daytona Beach, where Sterling Marlin has won the Daytona 500.